I told my fiance that his family is being way too nice, and he didn't take it very well.
They're just too nice.
I, 27 female, recently met my fiance's 31 male family for the first time. We've been together for 4 years, but we spent 2 of those years in my home country and then moved to his country after I finished my graduate program. By the way, this comes from Late Tart 320. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we didn't settle in his home state, but I kept asking to meet his parents because he's met mine multiple times. And he always said that they're just very private people and kind of old-fashioned. So we should wait until we're engaged. Weird, but some people are just weird, so I didn't push it. We're engaged now. So last weekend, we finally made the trip. And I don't know how else to describe it, but something felt really off about the whole thing. They weren't rude. I want to preface by saying that. It's on the contrary. They were nice to a degree that felt contrived and honestly a little scary. Like maybe in like that movie Get Out. His mom kept hugging and touching me and holding my hand, asking, "What can I do for you? How can she make me more comfortable? That it's so nice to finally meet me." His dad barely said a word to me, and that juxtaposition was a lot. But I left feeling love-bombed a little. Love-bombed by family members is a new one for us.
Suspicious.
She made all my favorite foods and kept anxiously asking if anything was wrong. If she could refill my drink, she even offered me her shirt when I mentioned I thought it looked really nice.
You're dealing with the Fae folk. Don't tell them your name.
I thought maybe she was just anxious. His little sisters asked polite questions to me, but still it felt so surface level. His mom was dominating everything. It kind of felt like a job interview. Like, what are you looking for in a marriage? And have you heard much about our little town? With palpable relief when I said no, because I was not from the US. She asked about my past relationships and was very interested in why me and my past boyfriend broke up. I specifically remember her asking, "How hard did you fight for it?" I just felt oddly interrogated and coddled at the same time. I'm not explaining myself well, but my gut told me, get out of the house. My fiance barely spoke all night, and anytime I looked to him for reassurance, he just smiled and looked down at his hands, which is not like him at all. There's something that OP doesn't know. Couple of nights in, I told him I was feeling kind of weird and wanted to go home. He asked me why, and I told him that maybe I'm not used to American socializing, that I just feel a little tired and overwhelmed, and that his family is really, really nice, and I'm not sure how to handle it. I was trying not to be rude, but we've always emphasized honesty in our relationship, and I thought if this was a cultural thing, maybe we could talk about it and overcome it together. Well, he got really defensive, saying I was being dramatic, rude, and xenophobic when his family had gone out of their way to make me feel welcome. I apologized and said I was grateful, that I just felt a little weird. And he said he was done talking about it.
Okay, wow. That was a super effective conversation.
What are our conspiracy theories about what is going on right now? Sophia, what are you thinking?
Well, I only have supernatural or fantastical ones. But if we were to ground my theories in reality, they would not exist.
I mean, I feel like it's got to be like some kind of racism thing. It's got to be racism, right? What else could it be? Or some trad wife stuff where they're maybe trying to be like, you got to come to our small town. You got to live inside, take care of the kids. Instantly, he's trying to see how hard she's going to fight for him.
Seems like this family has just really high standards, maybe, and they're like very involved in the rooting out process.
Too involved. Well, we drove home and he won't talk about it anymore. Will hardly even talk to me. His mom, on the other hand, has been texting me nonstop since she met me, how happy she was to meet me, how beautiful I am, and how she hopes we won't wait too long to get married and have kids.
Texting you nonstop?
Also, like, I don't like this speed run to marriage and kids.
Really? I mean, well, they were already engaged.
I know, but just like, it's stressful enough having to plan a wedding and do the whole fiance stuff.
Not to say that it's okay, but I think that is a more common thing for family members to be like, oh, I can't wait for you to have a baby now that you're getting married. And it's like, I think that line of thinking is pretty common, not saying it's okay.
True. I guess it's just in the context of everything else. It feels a little bit high pressure. I agreed with Sophia. It's not like completely out of bounds, but it is a little bit much. I just feel so unsettled. My fiance thinks I am an ungrateful a-hole, and maybe I am. But am I? I just feel so out of sorts over this. Any advice, criticism, anything is welcome. There is an edit. There is an update. We got a lot more to this story. But Sophia, have your conspiracy theories developed?
Perhaps my advice has developed in that I think you need to like go back to your partner and say, hey, no, like this isn't over. I really would like to talk about this. And I want to get your reasoning behind why you're offended by what I said, because I'm just trying to get to know your family, but also it's a little overwhelming because this is a bunch of new people that I've never met.
Like, in what world is what she's saying xenophobic?
It's not. I feel like he's hiding something. I think he's being very defensive and he's hiding some skeletons in the closet.
Well, edits. My fiance still is not talking to me at all. He shut himself in our room and said he needed space. Seriously, am I missing something here? What the F do I do? I feel like I'm going crazy. Gaslighting. But we're going to go straight into this update. I finally got my fiance to talk to me. And it was not a good conversation. I apologized again for coming across as ungrateful. And he said that the way I reacted to his family told him everything he needed to know about why he was so reluctant to let me meet them in the first place.
Hardcore projecting. What do you mean you knew how she would react?
Also, so he was reluctant. He lied.
He's a liar.
He said I should be grateful they welcomed me with such open arms and that I needed to remember that the only reason I am doing so well in this country is because I am dependent on him to be here. That is a sentence I don't know if you can come back from, my man.
You cannot.
That is big yikes.
Not the, you should be grateful I let you come.
I mean, like, even if he was the only reason, even if it was like a green card marriage, that's just something that you say that is only hurtful.
Yeah, it's an inside thought.
That had me so angry. Yes, as it should. I literally can't stand being talked down to. I felt like this was way out of proportion. And then he accused me of cheating on him.
Projecting.
He demanded to see my phone because apparently, according to him, I am intentionally trying to sabotage our relationship by saying his family is too nice and that he'll call off the engagement. I can call him an a-hole and I get to go off with my so-called fling. I am not a cheater. So I said, go ahead, look through my phone. Again, I feel like what's going to happen here, and she's going to be like, and now I'm not going to be in this relationship anymore. You can look through the phone, but just know that the relationship may be difficult to recover.
I agree. It definitely implies something and it's very hurtful.
I'm not a cheater, so I said, go ahead, look at my phone. He scrolled through my text for a bit, my internet search history, my social media search history, my camera roll, and as expected, he found nothing. But he doubled down and said this was a serious problem for him and that he needs to reevaluate our entire relationship. He has never blown up on me like this. I feel like I don't even recognize who I'm getting married to. What the F do I do? Am I actually this much of an a-hole? An edit for clarity. I didn't articulate myself well in the first post, so here's a more extensive rundown of what has happened at his home. All right, so we're getting the weirdness. His mom touched my hair and kept hugging me, grabbing my arm. She even pinched my cheeks a couple of times.
We also don't have confirmation of where OP's from.
These could all be very normal things. I'm coming to understand this by reading the comments, but this paired with everything else just made me feel like more of a doll. She said I was more beautiful than I imagined multiple times, kept saying I was beautiful and perfect for her son. She grabbed my shirt because she said it looked so good on me and wanted to feel it. She insisted I sit down next to her and every so often kept saying she was so glad to finally meet me and that it feels like she's been waiting for me forever.
No. Really quick. I feel like, for example, you have a man who is complimenting a woman and they're being very nice, but you have that like, I'm incredibly uncomfortable. That's what this feels like.
Like, it feels like she's flirting with OP almost. She served my plate for me and kept filling it with food. Even when I said thank you, it was so yummy, but I'm full. She kept bringing me drinks. Even when I said I wasn't thirsty, I don't handle booze well, so I try not to drink. I would try to decline, but she kept insisting. So then I felt like I couldn't. She was asking me what I was looking for in a relationship, what kind of wife I wanted to be, what my past relationships were like, why I left my exes, what my thought process and reasoning was. And since we left, she's been texting me almost this whole time, asking me to promise I'll come back and visit, asking when the wedding is, asking me to not put it off for so long, asking when we're going to have kids, asking if we're trying to have kids. Right now, I hope this provides more clarity for why I felt the way I did. even if I shouldn't have said it to my fiance because I was a guest in their home and a receiver of their hospitality. We got some comments.
And this one, I think, will be relevant.
We're not even halfway done with this story. So there's a lot of room for weirdness to occur. But comments, are you a different ethnicity than your fiance and family? Because I'm wondering if his mom's behavior is racially motivated. It's so weirdly creepy and over the top fetishizing in a way. Him saying this is why he was so reluctant to meet you smells like some gaslighting BS. His unwillingness to talk is red flag. Saying the only reason you are doing well in a country is because you depend on him is threatening and manipulative. Agreed. His cheating accusations make no sense at all and sounds like another control tactic. You should have been allowed to tell him your feelings without him blowing up and him responding in such an extreme way. Please give some serious thought on whether you want to marry a man like him. I would strongly encourage you to get the heck away from him. An OP response. Yes, I am Asian and they are white.
All of the comments felt very like fetishizing of Asian people. Oh, you're like so pretty like a doll.
Maybe it is something like that. I just didn't want to assume that. I've been pretty lucky in encountering minimal racism here and back home. I didn't even encounter it. So maybe I just have trouble identifying it. Having to think about this now is really hard. I really love him and uprooted my life for him. We've been together for years. I feel like this came on so suddenly. I feel paralyzed. We got another update.
Yeah, no, this is definitely like a large amount of fetishizing going on in this family. And your partner is not putting a stop to any of this. So I think your safety is really at risk here. I can't really say whether or not you're going to end the relationship. Definitely postpone that marriage.
We got another update. I want to start by saying thank you so much to all the commenters and people who messaged me private words of support and comfort. I've been slow to catch up what's happening to me, and though a lot of comments scared me, I started coming to the natural conclusions that they were right. I felt more and more unsettled as the hours went on. Fiance's mother kept texting me, and he didn't text me from work like he usually does. He got back late. His job is labor intensive and requires long hours. When he got back, I was waiting and told him I wanted to talk right now because the way events are unfolding is unacceptable to me. The effort I put into our relationship and is leaving too many questions unanswered and creating more. He instantly lit up and demanded to see my phone again. What the heck? I said I would not give him my phone unless he gave me his.
Uno reverse card.
And he vehemently denied, saying I was the one causing problems, so it was his right to look through my phone, not his. That is a red flag. Swap phones. Why not? If someone asks for your phone, you should ask for theirs.
I think you got to do a little trade.
At this point, I was starting to feel really scared of him. I am physically much smaller than him, and this has never felt more apparent to me than in that moment. He was speaking really loudly, really closely to me, telling me that his family and him were willing to give me a second chance if I behaved better this time. That he knew I had it in me to be polite because I always acted that way back in my home country, and that no one else in America would put up with this BS. So I should consider myself lucky he didn't do more to expose my cheating.
That's a threat.
I asked if he was threatening me, and he again demanded to see my phone. Oh my God, you just saw it. I said no, though not as firmly as the first time. He stormed off to the bathroom and turned the shower on. I was really, really scared. So many of you told me to look him and his family up, and I didn't because I thought it was silly. Oh no. Was he like jail or something? This is so weird.
This is a man who went to Asia and thought he could get a wife to control.
But then I did, right there in our living room. Turns out he did have a past girlfriend, though he's always maintained he has only had short flings and never a serious relationship. She disappeared 8 years ago, and he was considered a suspect for a while. I couldn't find much in the articles because I honestly didn't know how to dig further. I don't know if anything ever happened with it. He still is a suspect, though I guess he couldn't be to teach English in another country. I don't know how it works. I know he was never convicted, but whether or not he did it is irrelevant to the fact that he lied.
And he buried that information.
Maybe he buried her too. Oh my God. He lied so colossally about something so huge. I was genuinely so scared that I started shaking. I couldn't think or do anything. It was in the middle of the night and he was in the shower and I was just so scared. I really miss my mom and home so much more than I have since I left. I locked myself in our bedroom and called her. She answered despite it being in the middle of the night, and I tried to explain what was happening as best as I could. My parents told me to leave all of my things except for family photos, heirlooms, and my work things and go to a hotel. Not to say a word to him and just to do it as quickly as possible. I told him he was in the shower, so they thought I would have enough time to do it without him noticing. I got all my stuff together as quickly as I could. I think I forgot some jewelry, but it's okay. My dad sent me money for a hotel, and that's where I am right now. We do have about a quarter left of this story, but is it the right move to just get out of there ASAP?
Absolutely. I'm sorry, if I was in a relationship and saw that like my partner was, suspect in a criminal case, I'm going to ask questions after I get out of here.
Long shot. Did this woman that disappeared look similar to you?
Usually stabby stabbers have a type.
Get rid of your phone if you can.
Turn off your location services.
But we got more to this story. I took an Uber about 2 hours away from the city on a separate account. I made that night as I don't have a car here. My fiancé started messaging me about 30 minutes into my drive, asking what was going on. I sent him links to the articles I read and said I was feeling really scared and lied to, and that I thought our relationship was over. If he thought I was cheating, clearly we don't trust each other. He called me so many times, kept saying I was a witch for accusing him of something he didn't do, for bringing up such a sore subject when he wasn't ready to talk about it. I mean, you're about to get married. You better be ready.
I'm sorry. You have to be.
He said he wished he never met me and that I should think long and hard about what I'm doing because I don't fully understand the consequences of being alone in America, that no one will want me like him, that he was doing me a favor.
Second threat of the night.
Oh my God. I just ignored it. I was crying so hard the Uber driver actually asked me if I was okay. At least someone's doing something right. Uber driver, 5 stars. Then his mom started calling and texting me. She said she knows it sounds scary, but her son is a good person and he had nothing to do with it. And that if we just get married and have kids, things will be really smooth.
That would be even worse if she was like texting and calling me like, come back. I know it seems scary, but he had nothing to do with it. The police were wrong. They'd found no proof. No body, no crime. Those are the rules. Don't look in the closet.
I just wanted to go home. Everything was clicking into place way too much. His parents' treatment of me, why he kept demanding to see my phone, why it took so long for me to go to his hometown and meet his family. My friend walked me through everything, and it all made sense. My body was so overcome by the stress and fear that I couldn't stand to be there for one more second. I am in a hotel now. All location services on my phone are disabled. Good move. My dad bought me a plane ticket home. I emailed my job and told them a family emergency came up and I would no longer be able to offer my services to them. Most of my clothes are still at home. I shared it with my fiance, and I don't think I'll ever get them back because I don't want to go back. And it's not like I can ask my friends to get it for me. I have some friends here, but they're not close, and it's too hard to ship them. By the way, you want something that is easy as eaten pie. You can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, Sophia. Before we get into that update, I feel like OP's making all the right moves.
I absolutely think so. Yeah. It's get out of there as quick as you can. Call your parents.
Thankfully, the parents are so supportive. Like, I mean, imagine if you didn't have those.
Yeah. And also have like the funds to make sure that she's safe and everything,
Like if she didn't have those parents, like it sounds like she doesn't have close enough friends to lean on. That would have been an even scarier situation.
There are times when you have like these marriages, that we hear about with like the passport bros where they might not have the funds to, like, if she needs to get a flight back, like that might not have been possible, but it seems here she is able to like get to safety and everything.
Oh my God. But we got a little bit more to the story. So anyway, that's it. I sent him a text saying that the engagement is called off. There's a lot of other things to address, like the fact that we have shared accounts. He has my visa information, etc. I don't want to speculate over what happened with him and his past girlfriend because I don't know her. They never found her, and my heart breaks for her. He just lied about it for years and tried to do everything he could to keep it from me. I'm too scared to ever be comfortable in the relationship again, and I think it's time for me to go home. Thank you so much again to everyone who sent me comforting words of support and kindness. I don't know if I would have come to the same conclusions if not for your comments. Hopefully next time we meet, I'll be back home with my family and friends. And that is where that crazy story ends. Oh my God. I'm glad that she left that.
Everything turned out all right.
Everything turned out all right. But I mean, if she stayed longer, how bad would that have been? If she hadn't gotten this advice, she might have been doomed.
I changed my mind about being a surrogate for my sister. She didn't take it well.
Oh, what stage in the process did we change our mind here? That's my question.
That's a very good question. Years ago, my sister found out that she would not be able to carry children traditionally and that her eggs would likely not be viable. She had complications and everything had to be removed. This is when she was 22 and she was absolutely devastated. By the way, this comes from I'm sorry, but I can't. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my sister has always been very nurturing and loves children. We were the best of friends growing up, and we were still very close until this happened. At the time, and now I am child-free, so I told my sister that it was okay because I would definitely donate my eggs, and if I could surrogate for her, I would. And I really did mean it. I wasn't just saying it to make her feel better because I love my sister. And seeing her in such pain and thinking she was less of a person because of it devastated me too. I wanted to help her in any way I could. We pinky swore, a thing we did as kids when we really meant something. OP dropping pinky swear lore.
Yeah.
We pinky swore and she felt a lot better knowing she could have a child that was genetically very similar to her. And we do look very much alike. People call us twins all the time. She got married 2 years ago to a man who knew about her situation, but I guess also knew about the promise I had made. He very much wanted children too, but they are both against adopting because they want a child as genetically close to them and looking like them as possible. They are afraid of hidden health issues in a child unrelated to them. I didn't know she told her husband about my promise. And though I hadn't forgotten about it because she reminds me every once in a while, it wasn't something I thought about often because I was living my own life. Well, about a month ago, she and her husband came to me and told me they're ready to have their baby and it's time for me to make good on my promise.
Oh, wow.
So demanding.
Yeah, I feel like timing really should be something that OP should be consulted with about. You know, I feel like they can't just be like, at any second now, you can be pregnant.
Right.
Because I say so.
Right. Where it's like, remember your pinky swear? It's time for you to get pregnant.
Right.
It's like, all right, let's at least discuss timelines,
Yeah.
discuss, which maybe they are. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Doesn't
phrasing,
seem
it's
like it.
time for me to make good on my promise.
Yeah, ew.
You have one part where it's like, yeah, that's gross. But then also it's like making that commitment as OP, like making that commitment to your sister being like, yeah, I will surrogate for you and you can use my eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
You might not have realized at the time necessarily how big of a commitment that is.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know that she says she meant it, but it's like,
Still.
well, yeah, now theoretically it's time to get pregnant.
Hard to imagine.
So I reacted with utter surprise because I felt like they sort of ambushed me and gave me no notice to be okay with it. But she just said, I've had more than 5 years to be okay with it. I guess because I was surprised, I didn't say I needed to think about it or anything. I just flat out said, no, I don't think I can do that. I explained to her that now I am in graduate school and working at a job I really like, that I just started and will have a career. I can't be pregnant for the next 9 months. And most places will not agree since I have no children. I'm also in a relationship with a man I really love. I've talked to him about this and he feels a bit weird about it the way I do. Having a child that is biologically my child with my brother-in-law, who we always have to see and see the child very often too. Over the years, I've just decided I don't feel right with a child that is biologically mine in the world. I guess it might be different if I never have to see the child, but it'll be my son or daughter running around. And my sister has already very adamantly said that she will tell the child about what I did for them and how they're lucky when I do not want that at all. I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take. I've been full of them today. OP, the moment you started feeling this, you needed to bring it to your sister. The instant that you realized,
Yeah.
I would not do that.
Yeah, that would be smart.
You needed to bring it up. She also maybe wants more than one kid. And obviously, I would have to be the surrogate for all of them because they will not have children that have different mothers.
Wow.
What is this?
That's a lot to put on OP.
Yeah. She also maybe wants more than one kid, and obviously I would have to be the surrogate of all of them because they will not have children that have different mothers. On top of that, I am sensitive to medication. I don't want to be on fertility substances, and even without all these reasons, I just feel like this is not something I want. These are all very selfish reasons. I know, especially considering the gift I would be giving my sister of a child, the thing she wants more than anything. She called me later in tears, yelling, saying that I'm a liar And that to go back on my word and leave her childless just because I want that life makes me the worst kind of person.
That is so unfair.
It's really, yeah.
That is so unfair. This is not her fault at all. And there are so many other options. Like, come on. That is so unfair.
You know, your sister's devastated. You're like, let me help you. OP didn't realize maybe at the time, if OP had done it right then, maybe that works. Fast forward, several years, half a decade. Now she's starting a career. She's got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just it's not feasible anymore.
Right. I mean, the timing, I feel like, comes into play a lot because, again, like you said, like she's got this job going for her. She's like in school or graduating or something like that.
She's in graduate school.
Yeah. And so it's like
graduate
now
school starting a career. It's like,
gotcha.
whoa.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, maybe someday I would love to, or maybe like, when I learn more about it or when I'm mentally ready, then like maybe then I could still do it eventually. But right now, not a great time for me and my body.
Yeah.
My internal organs.
It's hard spot. Rock and a hard place type situation. I cried too and told her that's not why at all and tried to explain my reasons again. But she just said her husband will divorce her over this and could I live with that?
That's crazy.
Guilt tripping?
Her husband's a nice guy, but he's always wanted kids. And this has always been in their relationship, so I can see how he would divorce over this. She's not just making threats. Honestly, I can't live with that, and she knows that. I know how badly this hurts her, and it hurts me too, but I just don't think I can do it. Later that week, my mother called to yell at me too. My cousins and aunts have said on Facebook that it's my body, but making these choices is selfish, and I'm really hurting my sister. They don't want to be involved, but they do not agree with me. My mother said I am not her daughter if I continue to behave this way and hurt my sister.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
You're literally like, your whole life would go on pause for a year. You're starting a career. You're trying to finish grad school. You're in your own relationship.
Yeah, come on, man.
My dad has been understanding of my points, but he doesn't want to live in a family divided, so he tells people to leave me alone, but will also not fight with my mom, who is way more aggressive than he is. It's been this way for the whole month, with my sister ignoring me, except sometimes when she messages me or calls me to be angry. My brother-in-law has messaged me, and my mom calls me daily to tell me that she did not raise me like this, and that her children know that giving your word is the most important thing, and that following through on your promise is the biggest deal, then bigger than everything else, and that it is a comparatively small sacrifice for what I would be giving to my sister.
Girl, no.
Oh my God,
No.
that's toxic.
Not a small
I mean, keeping your
sacrifice.
word is one thing, but I think we're talking about this like it's like, you said you'd go with her to the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's like, this is being pregnant for 9 months.
Yes.
And then having to see the kid all the time and feeling weird. Like, now, you didn't know.
Going through postpartum and not even being able to have your child.
Yeah.
Some people pass away during pregnancy. Like, that is not a small sacrifice.
Yeah. I know a lot of people will say it's your body, so do whatever, but it's not that simple to my family, and I don't want to lose all of them. Well, they're all going to lose you, not the other way around.
True.
I love them and my sister, and I know it's crappy to be mean to me, but it's also kind of crappy of me to go break my promise to her. True. Thank God. OP, I'm so glad that you just owned that.
Yeah.
How do I help them understand, or should I just do it? I'm really confused and unsure right now, and there's an edit to add. This is not the first time I've mentioned to my sister my reservations or told her that as my life changes, this becomes more and more impossible to do.
Wait a second.
She has also changed her mind many times about whether she could love a child that isn't hers. She has decided that she is happy being without a child. She has talked about how painful it would be seeing a child that isn't hers with her husband, and not only isn't hers, but is her sister's. I have been very open about how I feel along the way, and nothing in my post was new information to her. Just, it probably has never happened all at once in that explosion before. I feel like she is somewhat ignoring a lot of our conversations over the past several years and just fixating on what I said when we were going through this when we were 20 and 22 years old. But I also understand that because I know she's in so much pain. And she is right. I did make that promise, and I made that promise in earnest. I meant it. People should keep their word when they promise. But for people who are saying that I was not honest and never told her how I felt, that is just not true. I've told her how I feel every time she's asked me, and every time I've told the truth. There's an update.
Okay.
Now I'm firmly in the camp of you do not need to do this, OP.
Yeah,
Not at
don't
all.
do it.
Big info revealed there.
I've been in that camp this whole time, but I was just
Yeah.
in the degree of like what you could have done to prevent this. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
You were 20.
And you did it. She said multiple times that she wasn't so sure. Like, as she kind of gets closer, she feels like it's a little more impossible, which is like what you were saying, is to say it earlier, and looks like she did.
And she just your sister completely ignored it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit this update. Because of everything I read, I realized I needed to do my best to hear her and to also be heard. I sent my sister a text begging her to see me, to talk to me as we did in the past and not like enemies. I wanted us to be a team again, working towards her being happy. My sister finally called me and decided to come over. Almost as soon as she was in the door, she was in tears, hugging me and crying. I cried with her before she was ready to talk, and when she did talk, I was completely unsure of what to say. She told me that she was becoming okay with the idea of being childless for her life, and she knew that asking me at this time was literally the worst time she could have chosen. She told me that though the promise meant worlds to her back then, I was still a girl in her mind, and she used it only to feel better and relied on it too much to feel better even through the years. I've always been her little sister that she protects and watches out for, and she wasn't even sure if she could accept such a thing from me. She never really expected me to do that without actually talking to me about it, and that is partially why we have only had half conversations about it. It was a great source of comfort for her, but not something she felt like she could make real. Her husband, though.
Uh-oh.
Are we uncovering the real villain of this story?
Perhaps we are.
Don't forget the mom, too.
Great snakes.
The mom was not.
Oh, yeah.
great, too.
The whole family being like, I raised you better than this. I raised you to make babies.
Yeah, it's like, okay, grandma, calm down.
That was mom.
That was mom. Yeah.
She's crazy.
Crazy.
Her husband, though, has been insisting that they have a child now and that it has to be that way. Even though she has told him many times that it was okay if I couldn't do it and that they could be happy without a child or a child that was genetically only related to his family. He disagreed with her and got in her head and convinced her to ask me. My mom had also begun to ask her when she would start this process, as it's often long and involved, so she felt pressured by all of her support systems to do this. So she did it in that way because of the pressure and because she knew I'd have to refuse. She apologized very much over this to me and wanted to sooner, but hearing me really say no reminded her of the hurt she went through back when she first found out. Since I was her rock then, she realized that she never had her own place to anchor her pain inside of her because it was anchored to me.
Whoa. Big therapy moments happening right now. That's crazy.
Ooh. She said it felt like going through all of that again, but alone, with her angry husband insisting that she find a way to make this work. She said she felt comforted by my family and mother siding with her, but realized it was still a way of not dealing with things by herself. She wasn't even fully aware of what was happening with them until she got back on Facebook and talked to our mom and was really upset by that. I was just as surprised as before, not sure what to tell her. I told her that if she had to go through a divorce or being childless, I would of course support her through that. She said she was not sure at all what she wanted and that it would be easy to stay with her husband and just let him hate me. But that didn't feel right.
Huh? What? Hang on.
Are we cutting contact or what?
I told her that it would be fine to me if I didn't lose her, and if at the end of it he could be okay with other options. But she said this wasn't fair, and she wasn't even sure what other options she wanted.
So now maybe she's thinking like, okay, this is a lot to put on OP, but at the same time, I don't really know if I would want other options. Well, because I mean, like she said before, if it's not her kid, she doesn't know how she would love it.
Yeah, that
Not
is true. I don't know. What I'm not getting is that she said this wasn't fair. I'm like, that sounded perfectly fair to me.
I mean, maybe not fair to OP with being like, well, you
It was
still
OP's idea.
I know, but I mean, it's still.
Oh, just about the husband hate?
yeah,
Her husband
exactly,
hating her?
Exactly. That
Just
wouldn't
being
be
like,
fair
yeah,
to OP.
I don't know. I would feel weird living with my husband that hates my sister.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe, hopefully, that's what.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What else makes a lot of sense is that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, your mind's gonna be blown at what you find.
Dude, absolutely.
Okay, we have a little bit more story left. Angie, do you have any finishing thoughts here?
It's just I'm glad that they can have this conversation now, because before it was getting scary. It was getting scary.
Right,
I was thinking that the pinky promise was gonna be held over her head for the rest of her life, but it looks like things are starting to calm down and that the solution is more on the actual couple having the child and not on OP. A little bit more, at least.
I'm glad
I'm
was
feeling
that.
hopeful.
the revelation that the sister literally never even wanted to. The sister was like, this is not going to really happen, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And her husband's like, you got to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the husband's wild.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, husband sounds pretty toxic.
Yeah.
But I digress. I'm not sure what to tell her now either or how to help. Her husband loves her very deeply, I know, and this hurts him. We're all just people trying to cope with something that is terrible and painful. I don't know if they will stay together or not, or if my sister is right in that they just needed something concrete to snap them out of the fantasy so that they could deal with this in their life and marriage realistically. I'm hoping that he is okay and that she is okay and that they can move away from this stronger. But whatever happens, I will support my sister. And that
Oh, good.
is the end of that story.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
The sissies stick together. Honestly,
Good.
I like that. I feel
like
like
it
that's
too.
probably the best way that could have gone.
Yeah. I feel good about that ending.
The husband
On the husband to figure out.
like, I get it. Like, you have a right as like a person. You're like, this is what I want. I want my kid to be like as genetically similar to me as possible.
Sure.
But like not considering the fact that OP is also a human being
Right.
who will be carrying the child
Right.
instead of just a machine, like a test tube of some kind.
Yeah, he needs to learn more about pregnancies and the horrors. So I think to really understand this
And the
situation because I'm scared.
I ended our family because my partner didn't get me a Mother's Day gift. Well, that's bad partner. The title sounds like I'm being spoiled, but bear with me. I'm 34 female and have been with my partner, 47 male, for nearly 11 years. He has one child from his marriage that ended at least 5 years before I met him, so I am not the other woman. He was divorced when I met him. We have a child together now, too. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Daisy Maybe, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, when I first met him, his ex-wife wouldn't let him see his child. Oh my God. But I supported and financed him through the courts, and we got access. I treat this child like my own, but understand when things like Mother's Day come around that I didn't get anything to mark the day. They aren't my child. Christmas presents and birthday presents were small token gifts, as we were very poor due to a court eating our finances. Valentine's was usually a slightly nicer home-cooked meal, and maybe some cheap flowers, not roses or anything. But again, we were literally living paycheck to paycheck, though I might add I was the only one working. Why isn't your partner working? You're living paycheck to paycheck. When my partner finally decided he was ready to go back to work, 2 years after court was finalized, but he was still depressed about the whole thing, I was very supportive. I did his CVs, applied for the jobs, and took him to the interviews, etc. He finally landed a really good job that he loves. Finances obviously became much better, and though I am still the main breadwinner, we have a lot more disposable income. He bought a ring, not a massively expensive one, as I'm not one for those things like that. It was about 120 pounds, and proposed to me. I said yes. Fast forward 3 years. We still aren't married, but we are, after a lot of trouble, expecting a baby. I'm overjoyed, he's overjoyed, but it's kind of like he's the one pregnant. He's just going through, he's like, you don't understand. I have a lot of hormonal things going on right now.
Right. I'm having a really hard time.
Yeah.
I would really like it if you would support me in this.
He is snappy with me all the time. I make a mistake, drop a plate or something, and he curses me out. It feels like he's trying to alienate me from his other child. He left me less than an hour after our child was born because he was tired. I'm sorry, he was tired after you just gave birth?
Dude, come on.
I'm too tired to be upset, but I do file the way in my head for later. Don't marry this man. I kept in the hospital a few days after the birth as I lost a lot of blood, but he barely stays 15 minutes a day and shouts at me when I ring him because he's exhausted and trying to rest before the baby comes home. Oh my God. Insane.
That's
Insane.
crazy.
I'm reading this back and I feel so dumb, but I'll continue with the original question. Money is still fine after the baby is born. Birthdays and Christmases are nicer presents. Valentine's is better flowers, though purchased the day after, so they're cheaper. First Mother's Day, nothing. He bought for his own mom. I don't talk to my mom, so he knew it was Mother's Day. I had gotten him something from the kids, as I have done every year for Father's Day. So I asked him that night, why? His response, "You're not my mom." That's messed up.
Dude.
It's about celebrating the mothers in your life, not just your mom.
Yeah, she's the mother of your child.
Yeah, literally of your child.
Come on.
I was so hurt and we had a massive fight about it. He promised to make it up and said he didn't realize it was that important. I said all I wanted was a card I could show my friends and family instead of being mortified by telling them I got nothing when they asked me what I got. Birthdays and Christmases were thoughtful and nice. Valentine's was flowers on time and out to dinner. We were getting on great. And then this year, I give him his Valentine's, and he says thanks and opens it, glances at me, and was like, "Oh, I don't have time to get yours yet. I'll nip into the garage on the way to dinner." His favorite restaurant that I booked. I told him not to bother. He could make it up to me on Mother's Day, though. I was hurt, but trying not to be spoiled. It's just a day after all. Well, Mother's Day is this weekend coming. I asked him if we had any plans with his mom or if I could book us into this wee high tea thing. He looked at me and was like, "Oh, I've sorted, Mom, but I'm actually going away this weekend." Dude, this man can't do anything.
What?
He can't do anything right for you. He does not prioritize you in any way.
Because this is the second Mother's Day that she's had being a mom, right?
Yeah. And now and she
Dude.
said you can make it up. She said you can make up Valentine's Day for me with
Yeah.
Mother's Day. And he was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Oh, I'm leaving.
I'm going to be gone.
It'll be gone." I forgot to say we had to swap from the April date to next because a friend couldn't go. Boys' weekend away. I looked at him and said, "Okay, well, you said you would make up for Valentine's on Mother's Day. Have you got me something from our child, or should I get myself something?" He was like, "Oh, yeah, you can get yourself something if you want. I haven't really had time." I do not like this man. I asked what he got his mom, and he gave me a massive list. I told him I was done. Now he's calling me spoiled and saying he will go for full custody, that I'm throwing our family away over some stupid commercialized holiday. I told him it was just the tip of the iceberg and that I was sick of him. He is now staying with his mom, and I'm sat here with our toddler. And there is an update. But do you have any thoughts?
Oh my gosh. So many.
Yeah. Yikes.
So many thoughts. What? What do you mean you didn't have time? You obviously had time to talk with
get-
your boys.
And also to get your mom things,
yeah.
like a huge list of things, and you can't get your wife one thing?
Right. But instead you decided to spend your time with planning a trip for Mother's Day weekend where you're going to leave your wife at home alone with the kids. Because I feel like that's also another good thing to do on Mother's Day if
Yeah.
you know, have a mother of your child, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like you can make it easier for them and not have them take care of the kids.
Exactly.
on that day.
Exactly. It's like there are so many ways that you can be a good partner.
Yeah.
And show your partner that you appreciate them and that you care for them.
And you're doing everything incredibly wrong.
Okay, first things first. Thanks to everyone that has taken the time to comment. I mean everyone. It's given me a lot to think about and a lot of advice. I would like to also address the comments about mistreatment of my stepchild. I came into this child's life when they were 5 years old. When I first started dating their dad, he was seeing them and was paying child support through CSA. However, as we dated, he was fighting with their mom more and more about getting to see them, as she was canceling visits repeatedly for really weak reasons. Usually this happens after my ex refused to give her extra money or something, so I do know that it was 100% a good part of why he wasn't seeing the child. I met the child a few times before suggesting we go to court for a court order. This was after asking the child if they would like to start coming and staying over at ours more. They always said yes. In court, the judge ordered a social worker to speak to the child and ask her what she wanted, as things had gotten very bad between her parents and a lot of stupid things like accusations of substances, etc. The words my stepchild used with the social worker were, "I want to stay at daddy's, but mommy said she'll be lonely and sad and cry all the time, so I can't." He is a good dad in that he loves his kids and plays with them. He never misses a CSA payment. Everything else above paying child support and playing with the kids is left to me. I have a great relationship with my stepchild, and they tend to confide in me well before either of their parents. To be honest, her mom seems a lot, but I also haven't spoken more than 3 words to her, so I don't know. I also now understand why she hates me. As of now, I have told him we are over, and I am looking for a smaller place to stay closer to my friends and family. I have been to a solicitor this morning, not the same one as we used before, as she wasn't available and I wanted to get the ball rolling. They are getting me a temporary order of custody or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it means he can't kidnap my son, and we need to get a proper custody order in place. He has swung between begging me to stay, not caring, and threatening me that I will regret this. Not sure what he means, but it's all been texts, which I'm ignoring but screenshotting. He has not tried to actually come back to the house as far as I'm aware, though. I really can't explain why I let this go on like this. I had a very bad upbringing in that my mom was incredibly abusive, which I'm not getting into. It was only after she left us that people knew the extent. And by left us, I mean she left me and my 2 siblings in a house by ourselves for a good few days before we were brave enough to leave and find someone to call our dad, who my mom took away from us. This probably is why I was happy to support my partner through court, because I've seen parental alienation firsthand. I have no problem with my ex seeing my son. I have no problem with him taking him out, etc. I have a problem with him wanting full or even 50% custody because the man can't look after himself. He sleeps on the sofa if my son's sick because he gets a headache if he's too tired. I was once so sick I could barely lift my head and asked him to take our son downstairs and let me sleep for a few hours one morning. 3 hours later, I came down and my son was in the same nappy that was so full his PJs were wet, and he was eating dry cereal out of the box for breakfast at nearly lunchtime. I mean, your husband does not know how to take care of his kids.
Yeah, like even if the kids are saying that they like him, they like
He's
being
probably
over
a fun
there.
parent.
Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't know how to take care of kids.
Right. Like
He's being their friend and not their parent.
exactly.
I am not leaving my 3-year-old with that clown. I genuinely thought he loved me. We used to literally just spend hours together laughing and talking, and I was happy. I was stressed because I was working flat out. We had court. My grandparents passed away. My stepdad passed away. It was a terrible time, but he made me laugh, and we were happy. We got our stepchild 2 nights a week, and I loved them so much. I felt the hard work was worth it for them. He was depressed, or so he said. To be honest, I don't know how he sold that one to me. He got his child, and he was literally laying about home all day, every day, playing the games I paid for. Well, I could barely afford makeup and cut my own hair, for crying out loud.
Wow.
I am an idiot. I see that now. Maybe the small achievements made the crap seem worth it. We had a nice home. We got to see stepchild. He got a job. We got engaged. We tried and lost a baby, but got pregnant really quick and unexpectedly after. And you know what else is unexpected? The fact that we have full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Epoca Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't know. Just go easy on yourself, OP. Like, you might feel like an idiot afterwards, but in the moment, you didn't know.
You didn't know.
You didn't know, and there was probably, like, I don't know, if he was yelling at her for, like, random things, or, like, right? Is that what I heard correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if he's yelling at you for stupid things and, like, not being there for you and stuff, I really doubt that this pregnancy was the only time that he was yelling at her.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there was, like, some sort of manipulation going on in there. So don't blame yourself for, you know, getting manipulated.
Yeah.
And,
I
like,
mean, yeah, he seems like
staying-
just
yeah.
not a great guy. Terrible partner, really.
Right.
Just like, I mean, from the start of him not being, like, leaving an hour after you gave birth,
Mm-hmm.
he just was never going to be an involved parent.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he may be a fun parent, but not ready to put in the work. Then it was like, pop, the bubble had burst. I'm running myself into the ground at work, keeping a tidy home, caring for a toddler who's always sick, and trying to support a teenager through their GCSEs and life in general, and he just doesn't care. As long as he's comfortable and has time to play his video game, see his friends and family, and do whatever the heck he does on his phone, he really doesn't care less about what I do. I'm finally just done. Heartbroken, tired, but really and truly done. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Youch. Yeah, I mean, very valid.
Yeah.
Very valid. I think the only thing I would have said is, like, if anybody's in that situation where they're noticing their partner's really not stepping up in the way that they need to them to,
Mm-hmm.
have those conversations before,
Yeah.
talk them out, say like, hey, I really need a partner.
Yeah.
If that's not working, try couples therapy.
Something.
And, if nothing is changing, then divorce.
Yeah. But good on you for moving on with the divorce. That's
And recognizing that, you deserve better treatment than this.
exactly.
My father made a new family, but they disregard my needs.
I need y'all to regard me.
Please. My I-39 female lost my mom 14 years ago to cancer, and my dad, 75 male, remarried 3 years later to Nancy, 71 female. They met online and married 9 months after they met. During the time they were dating, I was never allowed to meet her family, even though they only lived 30 minutes away. Normally, I'd be like, 9 months, that's so quick. But I feel like when you're 75, you're like, let's just get married.
Yeah, might as well. Speed run.
By the way, this comes from Queen Layla Night Court, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, one Saturday morning, I was in bed sleeping late after a hard week at work, and Dad busted into my room around 11 saying, I had to get up because Nancy was coming over. I did, and they were both quiet and seemed nervous. They had gotten some of my favorite restaurant takeout for lunch. Nancy went to the bathroom after lunch, and Dad brought out chocolate cake. I realized what they were going to tell me, as Dad had been nervous about telling me when he had proposed to someone else the year before. That fell through for several reasons, and Nancy was his rebound, and that they were trying to bribe me with food like I was a toddler. I was upset because that should have been a conversation between me and my dad only, especially because I still lived with him, although I had been saving money to move out. It probably wasn't the most mature move, but I grabbed my keys and purse and left the house before Nancy came out of the bathroom. When I came back hours later, it was to a piece of chocolate cake on the counter and a note that they were getting married in a month, and I had a month to move out. In a petty move, I refused to touch that piece of cake. They were moving to a house my dad bought for her with money he made from selling my mom's childhood home, which he did without telling me because he knew I would be upset. So he denied me the chance to be on the property one last time for closure. Because my dad had made comments to me less than 6 months after my mom passed away about different women at church he knew that he didn't want to date, it felt like he never grieved her. I had a really hard time with this and acted out some. I did go to the wedding, and Nancy's friend came up to me and asked what she had ever done to me to treat me so terribly. I told her it wasn't any of her business. My friend Ivy came with me, and her job was to keep me from becoming a viral video. I was behaving for her sake, and so I would still have 2 functional arms after it was over. We stayed and ate a piece of cake, which was the nastiest tasting wedding cake both Ivy and I had ever had, and left early. About a year later, I wrote my dad and Nancy a letter apologizing for my part of this, but I received no apology from them for how they hurt me. Well, we were at a different place in our lives. As if that made up for how they had hurt me. Nancy would always put her family before my side of the family, and she seemed to want to drive a wedge between my siblings and me and our father. I also tried reaching out to my step-siblings during the early years of their marriage. I wanted to build a better relationship, but they weren't interested. That was hard, but I can't make people like me. The only family that lives close to me is the toxic half of my mom's family, whom I am no contact with. My siblings live 6 and 22-hour drives away from me. Nancy's family was the only family I had close by, and I felt very alone every time I was with them for family gatherings. Fast forward to 2021. I had been diagnosed with a number of different health issues since they married, and I had to change how I ate because of that. I also did an elimination diet and found that I had a mild dairy allergy, milk, chocolate, and cheese. I had to go dairy-free to stop the nausea, stomach aches, and other GI problems.
Sorry, it's not funny, but it's just the way that was written makes it sound like it's like R.I.P. milk, chocolate, and cheese. Eat like a charcuterie board with just like milk, chocolate candies and like Swiss cheese
That
next
was
to it.
OP's entire diet.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
My dad and stepmom didn't make me a dairy-free cake for my birthday that year. It was lactose-free, and it still upset my stomach. Wait, it was lactose-free? So maybe they just kind of misunderstood. Like it wasn't dairy-free, but it was lactose-free, and so they thought that would be fine. I was frustrated with them because as I had slowly changed what I ate to stay healthy and prevent medical problems, they would not accommodate my needs at family gatherings, but they would if I came to their house to have dinner with them.
But they literally did. They tried.
I feel like they just made a mistake, maybe. But also, I don't know. At Christmas, I came into a family gathering where the menu was supposed to be spaghetti and was changed last minute to pizza. Nothing they were serving was safe for me to eat. They did offer to make me a sandwich, but I declined because I was upset and had lost my appetite.
Okay, so they offered to fix the problem, and then you said no because I want to be upset. Sorry, I had to translate that for you.
Yeah.
Not saying that they're fine. Not saying that they have not, been annoying.
They've
but
been annoying and they've been rude, but like it feels like you are being more childish than your age. I left shortly thereafter because Nancy's grandkids were screaming and gave me a migraine. In fall of 2022, I got a text from my dad apologizing for some perceived slight. My therapist was encouraging me to talk to my dad about how I felt. Yeah, because I don't think you've done that.
Give that therapist a raise.
In retrospect, this might have been a conversation better had in person, but I think it would have also hurt worse when he blew me off. I sent him a text saying that this didn't bother me, but I was really hurt that they would not accommodate my dietary needs at family gatherings, and that at Christmas I was the only one who didn't have presents to open because they allegedly didn't exchange gifts for adults.
30. You're not getting Christmas presents like that at the Christmas party for the kids. You're not. Also,
said that's what
you lied at the very beginning. You lied. You said this didn't really bother me. It's bothering you. You're lying.
They said that's what Dirty Santa was for, although I usually ended up with stuff I didn't like. Every other adult had at least one gift, even though they were supposedly just doing gifts for the kids on Christmas night.
No, but still, you're 30.
Yeah.
Buy yourself your own Christmas presents. You're 30.
Well, okay. No, I think 30-year-olds should get Christmas gifts. I disagree with that. I also explained that not every dish had to be dairy-free, but I just wanted enough for an actual meal. I was raised in a tradition of hospitality where if you have people over to your house, you accommodate their needs within reason. It does seem, okay, I will say,
He's being a professional victim right now. I'll
really
say that.
quickly, I think it can be annoying if like you're not getting gifts and everyone else is getting gifts. I will give you that. I think it's annoying if you're not like, there's literally never any dairy-free options, even though they know about your thing. But I don't think it's fair to say that they're not trying to accommodate because they offered to make you food.
Offered to make you food. By the way, they do an adult gift exchange, so you could have gotten a present. It's like Dirty Santa. Literally, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think the fact that I will say it is a little bit sus that OP didn't get any gifts when other people got like one gift. I think that's where I'm like, seems like that's a little weird.
Yeah, but I don't know.
If you as the host are buying hot dogs and hamburgers for everyone, neither of which I can eat, is it really that hard to buy a piece of chicken and throw it on the grill with some salt and pepper? Apparently so, because I would have to bring food for me and also something to contribute to their meal. Anyways, I've never heard back from my dad for 3 days, and then it was a happy Friday and how was your week? I told him right there that I would not be coming for Thanksgiving. I guess they didn't believe me because Nancy texted me the week of Thanksgiving about the dinner. I explained what had happened and why I wouldn't be there. I also let her know that we could have a conversation about Christmas. This is her response to me, verbatim. I am not ready to have this conversation with you. My concern and disappointment is your choice not to spend Thanksgiving with your dad. Instead, you dump this crap on him about food and gifts. I would eat crap or starve to be able to be with my dad on Thanksgiving. One day, you could regret this decision. Your dad won't be around forever. I should mention at this point that Nancy is a Christian counselor. Yes, you read that right. She's a counselor. A counselor just referred to my feelings as crap.
Yeah, hey, buddy, that's called cold water. Sometimes you gotta have it. Because she's not wrong. It's like
Yeah.
your dad could drop dead tomorrow, dude.
I think she has her own control issues because her ex cheated on her with their daughter-in-law's sister. Oof. She told my best friend that she rules her family not long after they got married. I don't know what that means. I'm going to keep reading. That is why I think the exclusion all these years has been intentional. I am not close to my step-siblings and all but one basically ignore me. The one who does talk to me is kind, but I think they are also people pleasers, so they go along with what Nancy says. Anyways, back to Thanksgiving. The next day I got bombarded with texts from my stepsister's husband. He was very pushy about my coming to Thanksgiving, but I held my ground. My mom's birthday was the day before Thanksgiving that year, so I went to a hockey game that night, got home very late, and slept late the next morning before going to Thanksgiving dinner with a friend. Nancy also hates hockey, saying that it teaches kids to be violent and that violence never solves anything. Nancy loves to put down what I like and will say lots of things like that. When I liked the hunger...
Nancy will say lots of things like, this is never the answer. That monster.
Well, she says she hates hockey because it teaches kids to be violent. That's a little silly.
Yeah, that is a little extra.
When I liked the Hunger Games books and was excited about seeing the movies in theaters, she would say that it glorifies violence and taught kids to become school shooters or violent. Okay then, Girl doesn't know the Hunger Games because the whole point is that is really you're not getting the point there. Anyways, it was good to go to the hockey game because I had missed going to games. It honored my mom as we went to a lot of hockey games when we had a local hockey team. And it gave a certain finger to Nancy. Nancy and her family were nice to me through my birthday and Christmas that year. Okay. Then Nancy started yelling at me on a trip to see my brother over New Year.
Right, because you're probably like driving your father insane.
My sister-in-law was sitting with me when it happened, and I think she finally realized that everything I told her over the years about how I felt about Nancy was legitimate. My family can't celebrate Christmas on Christmas because Nancy's family does that, and God forbid they are inconvenienced. We're always relegated to having our Christmas close to New Year's, and Nancy always seems to find a way to ruin it. Anyways, Dad defended Nancy's behavior and was dismissive of my complaints. He's always like this, so I don't know why it still hurts so much. When my mom was mean to me during her treatment, he would defend her, saying that she was going through the change of life. Yes, he used menopause as an excuse for her behavior.
There's absolutely no way that OP is now going back and being like, my mom was mean to me while she was going through. There's no way, right? Is that what just happened?
Wait, and then, I'm going to read this next sentence first. Yes, he used menopause as an excuse for her behavior, but that doesn't excuse how awful mom was to me in the end. I shouldn't be someone's emotional 1-2 bag. Really pause, OP. No, you shouldn't be. To be clear, you should not be someone's emotional 1-2 bag. But I think it's also really important to remember that when people are going through cancer, it messes with your brain. One, it's terrifying because you're going through the process of like actively passing away when you know that it's happening and you know that there's nothing that you can do. And also it's literally changing your brain. So I think it's a little bit fair that your dad was defending your mom.
Can we maybe point to something your mom was going through that could have made her maybe a little emotionally charged or unstable? Maybe the thing she was in the hospital for.
Anyway, his most important relationship in life is that of his wife, and he will defend whoever is in that position, whether it is my mom or Nancy, even when they're hurting me.
This is actually the first time where it's like professional victim has entered the story. This is a professional victim.
The following year, Thanksgiving was the last straw. I regretted saying yes to going as soon as I agreed to it, but they said they would try to work on making sure I had what I needed for my dietary restrictions. Okay, which Nancy keeps getting confused about. She likes to say I'm gluten-free when it's dairy-free, and she also paints it as a fad diet that I'm doing. She does a new diet every other month, so that's rich coming from her.
She's 70.
Which is, yeah, like a-hole comment. I think,
71. Probably older than that now.
She's older. Thanksgiving that year was my mom's birthday, and I was already having a tough time. I get there, and I'm told that I won't be seated with my dad. For the first time ever, they have assigned seats. My seat is in a different room from my dad, and I'm with my stepsisters-in-laws. They're nice people, but we have nothing in common. They didn't speak to me the whole meal. Between that and my mom's birthday and them not making all of the few dishes I asked for dairy-free, I was so close to losing it. Which I think OP is right for being upset when they've communicated that they need some dairy-free options and we're told that there would be some. I think this is fair.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to give OP the few
No W's for OP in this story. Babe, we're 39. We know we're allergic to dairy. We got to start taking accountability. You want to make sure that you have food to eat at the place where you've been repeatedly having issues with people not understanding what you can and can't eat. Time to bring your own stuff and stop being mad at other people.
I think in this case, because they had the conversation. But I think going forward, I'd be like, well, they don't care about my dietary restrictions.
They're also old. They're in their 70s. It could literally just be like
I think there is a little bit of leeway you can give, but not. I left and went for a walk in the park behind my stepsister's house and watched the squirrels for about 45 minutes. When I came back, everyone but my dad, Nancy, and my stepsister's family were gone. I sat down with my dad and talked. I told him that today had been a rough day and he changed the subject. I also wasn't going to be able to see my brother that year for Christmas. We had been renting a house somewhere in the middle of the drive between his house and ours to celebrate our Christmas. I only had Thursday to Sunday available, but Nancy made reservations for Friday to Monday without talking to me. I couldn't go because I would have had to drive. I also couldn't drive that far on my own because of migraines and other health issues. As I sat there talking with my dad, I overheard that the reason Nancy had made the reservations starting on Friday was because her niece was coming in from out of state. Gina's mom is Nancy's sister, and she passed away unexpectedly when Gina was little. They treat Gina like royalty, and even though they could afford to go see her whenever they want, and I cannot afford to go see my brother unless I go with my dad, she had to spend one extra day with Gina and deny me the opportunity to see my brother for Christmas. Another example of our side of the family getting the short stick. I left and went home and watched movies that Mom and I used to watch and ate pumpkin pie because Nancy's weirdo family won't eat pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. That's messed up, actually. I agree. They are weird.
Some people just don't like pumpkin
That's
pie.
crazy. Pumpkin pie is the best dessert ever.
What?
Yes.
That is actually the craziest thing that you could have said.
It's true. It's
The
my favorite
best
dessert.
ever?
It's my favorite dessert.
You can maybe argue the best
my favorite
fall pie-based
my
dessert.
favorite dessert.
As soon as you move it out of that context,
favorite dessert, man.
stop lying.
No, I'm
You're
not even lying
to everyone.
I'm not even lying.
No, you're lying to yourself.
I call my aunt up. When I was 3 years old,
They found me in a pumpkin patch.
maybe that was 3 or 4. My aunt was like, "Oh, like there's dessert," and I was like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Pumpkin pie, but you're not gonna like it. Like you don't want it." And I was like, "No, I want it."
And you're like, all right, bet.
And she's like, "Okay, like you're not gonna like it." Had it. I was like, "This is amazing. More." And then one time, my
Did
other
you
aunt.
fib, though? Were
No,
you
I was like, this is amazing. The other time, another aunt babysat for me, and she took Sam and I to a grocery store, and she said, "You guys can pick out one thing." Sam picked out a big bag of chips. I picked out a whole pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie.
Oh my god, she loves pumpkin
'Cause
pie.
I love pumpkin pie.
Oh my god.
Like, like it's not a lie.
I
love
only
it.
like pumpkin pie that one time a year, and only a little bit. I'll eat one piece.
I think pumpkin pie is so good because I only have it one time of year.
Well, that's why.
you do.
You
Well,
can't say it's the
yeah.
best dessert when you have it one
Okay,
time
it's
of
so
the year.
good.
Yes, I agree with you. We have to have a conversation
I
about
love
this
it.
later because
Anyway,
What's
This
going
is
on?
insane.
I have always had to make it for myself because no one but Dad would eat it. Why won't you eat it? Girl, just save it.
Yeah. See, look. Now she's trying to be a victim about having more pumpkin pie to eat.
Wait, there's a really funny comment. I lay in bed that night and decide that I was not going to be treated like that again. I didn't think that they would respond well to a "you stink and I'm not coming back until you treat me better" message. Instead, I found other places to be when I knew they were gathering. I work with women who have been mistreated on Christmas and helped out a friend whose spouse had a serious medical issue at Thanksgiving last year. I'm catching some flack from some people who actually do seem to miss me. This, however, is the plan until something drastically changes. And it doesn't seem that anything will change. Nancy's brother passed away this year, and they didn't mention me in the obituary, even though I am supposed to be family and did spend a lot of time with them over the years. I took time off work to go to the funeral and burial. After the burial, I was asked to come to a meal for the family. They were having a meal back at the church for the family. I just looked at them and said, no. They didn't let me know this ahead of time, presumably because they didn't want to deal with my dietary restrictions. I told them no, and then I had to get back to work.
Here's a killer thought. Maybe they didn't tell you ahead of time because you've kind of made it very clear you don't mess with any of these people. So you're like, maybe we just won't. Let's not talk to OP. OP doesn't like it when we talk to them.
It says Nancy's brother passed away this year, and they didn't mention me in the obituary. Why would you be mentioned in the obituary?
Again, go outside, OP. Actually, OP, go inside.
I legitimately don't understand why you would be mentioned in the obituary for your dad's your stepmother's brother that you have no relation to.
Well, she wanted to be in the obituary saying how, and by the way, Nancy sucks.
I don't understand why you would be.
My
Okay.
step-grandma, I don't like her.
Anyway.
And that's in the obituary.
Let's keep going. I continue to distance myself from them, and I really struggle through the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays because my mom's birthday, the anniversary of her death, and my birthday, which was the day after we buried my mom, are all between those holidays. I can't hold my trauma plus theirs anymore. Nancy's cheating ex still comes to all their holiday gatherings, and it causes a lot of tension, even though they would like to pretend that they are one big happy family. I think that's why Nancy responds to me the way she does now, because I shattered the illusion that they were one big happy family by advocating for what I needed. I haven't totally stopped seeing them for the holidays. I get together with my dad sometimes Thanksgiving weekend and away from the family gathering. And we had a tradition of Christmas breakfast with just my dad, me, and Nancy. However, I refuse to be there for the family gatherings where I feel unseen and unwanted. By the way, you're always wanted, and you can go listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. This is a little bit more to this story. But do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think, what was that last sentence right before the tagline? Because that was really
However,
illuminating to
I
me.
refuse to be there for the family gatherings where I feel unseen and unwanted.
I refuse to be there. So now this is going to start the loop, the spiral of it's like, well, you're not there because you feel a certain way, so you remove yourself. Everyone sees you remove yourself, and they go, I guess OP doesn't want to be here anymore. So no one's going to say, oh, we need to go fix this. It's going to go, well, OP as an adult who is 39 has made her own choice and does not want to associate with us. So we will respect that choice, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially considering it was made in a way that feels a little hostile. Maybe she doesn't even want to hear from us in the first place. But instead, I feel like OP is going to take years of probably like silence or little to no contact as like, see, I was right. They all hate me. They want nothing to do with me. You have put yourself in this position right now.
Yeah. I mean, OP has a dairy allergy. Is that it? Or is there more? Because
I believe so.
they said they couldn't eat hot dogs or hamburgers either.
I don't know.
But there's a little bit more. They are the only people in my life who flat out refuse to accommodate my dietary restrictions, and it's very hurtful to me. It's interesting because Nancy's grandson is now gluten-free. I haven't heard why, but they are accommodating that. The family also accommodated when my stepsister had the vid and couldn't stand the taste of onions. They tasted awful to her, so they would leave them out for her. It's not that they can't accommodate, it's that they won't. So am I the a-hole?
I don't even know if you're an a-hole. You're just like kind of childish.
I think that you are, like, if that is the case, I think you're valid for being upset, but like, just the way that you reacted, it feels very childish.
It's like knowing that you're 39 really changes the way this story gets processed in our head. And it's like, that's, it's like that's a reality of existence. It's like you will have more sympathy for like the small child than you will for the 50-year-old adult.
Yeah.
Because the small child is
Cannot
a little
make
more
their own-
blameless.
and also can't make their own food.
Right.
Presumably.
Doesn't
Well, I mean,
understand.
Like, could, but like,
even if you were 20, it's like, all right, you still don't really get the ins and outs of like being an adult. It's like, and honestly, like a lot of us never, like that's kind of the big lie is that like at some point you wake up and you're like, I get it. It's like everyone seems to just be like, no, we make it up the entire time. And some of us just end up in better positions than others. But like, once you hit 40, dude, it's like, I can't hear you being in your victim mentality state. You need to be solving problems instead of amplifying them and then trying to say, see, everyone, look at this.
that's the end of that story.
My girlfriend's rich family looks down on me, and it's making me doubt our relationship.
Don't doubt, just leave.
And trigger warning, there are mentions of physical abuse. So if you don't want to listen to that, skip on to the next video. So December 26th, 2018. My girlfriend and I have been together almost 3 years. 99% of the time, we're great. She's funny and smart, and we have a lot of shared interests. But every time we visit her family, I start doubting everything. By the way, this comes from some case, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Do it.
So, they are very wealthy, which by itself is not a bad thing, but they're also very fixated on being rich and have a habit of placing the monetary value of things and people over everything else.
Not good.
I come from a very middle-class background. I have a good education and a decent career that I enjoy, but I'm definitely not rich. Because of this, they view me as a loser. For example, yesterday we made the 2-hour drive to her parents in my newish Honda. When we got there, her mom immediately ordered me to park the car behind the house so the neighbors wouldn't see it. She was furious that we didn't bring girlfriend's Land Rover, which they bought for her as a birthday gift this year. Girlfriend doesn't like to drive on long trips, and I'm not allowed to drive the Land Rover per her parents, so we brought my Honda. Girlfriend's dad has never spoken to me directly. Even when she introduced me the first time, he turned to her and said, "What does he do?"
This is very weird behavior.
Super weird. So we went in the house and I gave her dad the usual, "Hi, Merry Christmas." And he gave me the usual disinterested glance. One more example. Last year, I made the mistake of bringing a bottle of wine. It was a $25 bottle, which was pricey for me, and I even had the wine store lady help me pick it out. Girlfriend's mom told me to put it in the kitchen, and they didn't open it while we were there. She later admitted to girlfriend that they'd re-gifted it to their housekeeper because it was gas station hooch.
Oh my god, these people sound like a nightmare.
Dude.
Oh, yikes.
Oh my gosh. We managed to get through the day yesterday without much drama except the car thing, which I would normally consider a win. But today I kept thinking about the whole situation with her family and wondering if I'm really willing to deal with these people for the rest of my life. Girlfriend and I have tossed around the possibility of getting married more than once, but I know that they'll never accept me. If we get married, I'll have to see them a lot more than once a year. Girlfriend has given up trying to defend me to her parents and just ignores their BS most of the time, but I can tell it bothers her too. They bankroll a big chunk of her lifestyle, and I think that she's worried that they'll cut her off if she pushes too hard, which they've threatened to do over other things. So, not to sound like the a-hole, but am I wasting my time? Is this relationship doomed? My girlfriend always tells me that she doesn't care what her family thinks, but I'm not sure that's true. She always tries to downplay how grappy they are to me, but I know that I'll never be good enough for them, even if I'm good enough for her. There are some relevant comments, but I want to hear your comments.
Well, the thing is that, like, regardless of whether or not she's like, oh, I don't care what they think, she's still letting them say it. And it doesn't really seem like she's telling them stop saying it.
Yeah.
And if she's not going to stand up for you or say like, oh, you know what, maybe we should limit contact with my parents because they're treating my partner who I love terribly, then this relationship can't work, because it's not just that, you know, it's not like oh, I love you, I don't care what my parents say, like they're, you know, I don't really want them in my life. It's like, no, they're gonna stay in my life. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna stand up to them at all for you.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with it.
Yeah, I would be so pissed at my parents if they were the reason that I was broken up with.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you should definitely at least try to say something. But there are some relevant comments. One commenter says, your girlfriend needs to be able to live without her parents' money before you consider marrying her. At the moment, they're waiting you out, but probably do small things to undermine the relationship. They view you as the fun their daughter is having before she settles down for something real. They probably exclude you from vacations that they would take her on or family events. When they take a family photo, they probably ask you to take the photo. Wealthy parents use money to control their adult children as they have no other avenue to do so, and they are used to being in control of everything. They get the kids used to nice things, then make demands to continue the flow. Once they deem it serious, they will work to prevent the marriage, as they do not think that you will be able to provide the lifestyle that they want for her. They will withdraw funding for her dream wedding. They'll have legal documents drawn up detailing inheritance, divorce, child support, alimony, etc. for the relationship. They'll do anything that they can to add stress to break it up, and they'll be very good at it. I grew up in a wealthy community, so I've met all sorts of rich people. Your girlfriend's parents are the a-hole sort of rich people. With the importance of material goods that they place and the way they act, I'd also wager that they're also probably not as wealthy as they want you to think they are. OP responds, just reading this made me tired. I don't want anything to do with her family's money for pretty much every reason you just stated, though that hasn't stopped her mom from calling me a gold digger. Her parents do control her with the money. My girlfriend is co-owner of a business and has a decent income of her own, but her lifestyle is way beyond what she's bringing in. She's really bad at managing her own money, has never had to make or stick to a budget, and doesn't have much of a grasp on priorities when it comes to spending. Her parents pay for her townhouse and her credit cards. Whenever they get mad at her, they threaten to suspend her cards, and she freaks out because she doesn't have any of her own money set aside. Yeah, those are some good comments. And we do have an update, but yeah, I think they're kind of nailing it.
I think that she is too reliant on her parents,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore until she like gets out from under their thumb, she's not gonna stand up for you.
Yeah, and if she's, because I mean, knowing your partner's spending habits and you know, habits just regarding money at all is really important in a relationship.
Very true. Yeah, the fact that she's, you know, not good at managing her own money.
Yeah. Then that's a whole nother thing that you want to pay attention to too. I posted a few days ago on a throwaway account thinking it probably wouldn't go anywhere, but hoping a few more experienced internet strangers might give me some insight. It got some attention and there was some solid advice. And a lot of perspective on the whole situation, and I was like, okay, that was enlightening, and went on with my day. My girlfriend was working that night, so there wasn't much to do with all that info at the time, and I fell asleep while attempting to formulate my side of the big talk. Little did I know that post blew up overnight and made the front page, and my girlfriend saw it. Oh no! I didn't give any names or locations, but there was enough specific information that she had no trouble figuring out it was me. So Thursday, while at work and still unaware of all this, I got a dreaded "we need to talk" text. Yep, all caps. And I was like, well, I'm done with. So she was feeling hurt and angry when she sent that text, but she said that she had time to read through some of the comments and think about things, and she wasn't as upset when she came to my apartment later. And she brought food.
It's a good way.
It's
Good
a-
way to get someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great thing to
Apologize.
have in an argument is
Yes,
food.
food. Make
Yeah.
sure no one's hangry in an apartment.
Yeah.
No one should be hangry or tired in an argument.
Yeah. Still, she said that I had no right to tell the whole internet about our relationship problems, and I agreed and apologized. She knows I'm writing this update, and she's going to read it before I post. The reason for that being that she admitted the internet actually made some good points regarding our relationship problems. We talked for a long time Thursday night. She said she knows her parents treat people like crap and that they control her and her siblings with money. It's partially a cultural thing, according to her. My girlfriend was born and raised in the U.S., but her parents grew up rich in a different country and moved here a long time ago.
Dude, is this Crazy Rich Asians?
Maybe, man.
Are they from Singapore?
She said that they had a hard time assimilating with the upper class Americans and flaunt their wealth because they're socially insecure. Girlfriend also implied that kind of behavior was a lot more acceptable in their home country in the 1980s, and they never changed. She grew up seeing them act that way, and at least when she was younger, thought it was normal. On top of that, girlfriend's mom was and is emotionally and physically abusive. Oh no. Girlfriend said she's still afraid of her mom and has a hard time standing up to her. She also got very little affection from her parents growing up. It seems like that was all replaced with material things. So to her, being cut off from her family financially is the same as being cut off emotionally. All that being said, girlfriend doesn't expect me to visit her parents again.
Good.
That's great. That's great. She was very apologetic about how they treated me and also about not calling them out. She was really hurt that I said I thought I was wasting my time in the earlier post, and I said I was sorry, and I am. I was still raging a little when I wrote that. I asked her about maybe letting her parents cut her off financially and living on her own. It wouldn't mean that she has to go no contact, but their relationship would be based on something other than money. We've been talking about moving in together for a while now, and she actually suggested that she move out of her townhouse
Wow.
that her family pays for, and that she move into my apartment. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm totally fine with this. We've been together for almost 3 years, and I think we would have moved in together a while ago if her parents weren't so against it. She's really nervous about being on her own financially, but she's willing to try it. We spent hours yesterday going through her finances and coming up with a budget.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to say, make sure you guys talk about her finances, and you did.
Yes, that's
Look at
great.
that.
And helping her through a budget. She's got to learn somehow. It's going to be a big change in how she lives and thinks about things. I'm managing my expectations as far as spending is concerned. No one can change their habits overnight. We're not combining our finances or putting her name on the lease. The plan for now is to split the cost of rent and utilities, and she asked me to put her on an allowance for spending her own money. She also gave me the credit cards her parents pay for and told me to hide them. It's weird to me to have this much control over another person's finances. We're going to give it until my lease is up in March. My apartment is a little small for both of us and all of our stuff. And then, assuming all this works out, we'll look for a place to officially live together. She isn't going to tell her parents right away, but she promised that she will before March. And you better promise that you will listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
Edit, to everyone who's wondering, her parents are from Mexico. Girlfriend has a job and her own income. She is the co-owner of a business and makes a decent living on her own, just not nearly enough to fund the kind of lifestyle that she used to. Also, before you say she shouldn't have been mad that he posted about their relationship on Reddit, please, for 1 second, put yourself in that situation. You're casually browsing the front page and find a post about your personal life that was obviously written by your boyfriend, and in that same post, your boyfriend says he's thinking about breaking up with you. That's now just out there for the world to read. You can't say that wouldn't be alarming. She said it felt like a slap in the face, which made me feel pretty crappy for posting it all. All things considered, I think she was pretty reasonable about it. Ultimately, she was cool about me posting the update and actually wanted to make sure I thanked Reddit for the perspective. No, she's not demanding to approve this update. She's just involved now, as she should be since she's half of this relationship. And that's the end of that story.
My family treated me unfairly, but I'm better off without them.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I, 28 male, started working for the family business a few years ago. They had no online presence or know-how on how to market themselves properly. I ended up having to make them a Facebook page and update all their services to include everything they know how to do. By the way, this comes from user JustWinner8379, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So before that, they just cut grass and hedges. My dad, let's call him Dan, always complained that nobody paid correctly for cutting grass.
What does
Dan
that mean?
would say, they want me to cut this lawn that takes all day with 3 people, and they want to pay me pennies. So I got tired of listening to Dan complain and decided to take over. Dan would literally yell at the top of his lungs about it. I asked Dan, so what do you know how to do? Dan would tell me, and I would put that on his page. I would even upload all of Dan's photos when he would actually take some, and I then set up a Google page for the business and changed the name to make it sound more appealing than just Dan and Sons Landscaping Services, and got him new insurance for the business. Brother, you're doing too much now.
Yeah.
I got new insurance for the business. My brother, let's call him Andrew, worked for the company too. My grandmother, Diana, was involved as well. Getting the insurance was a pain because Diana was stuck in her ways, as was Dan. Needless to say, they didn't like change. I also, at that time, took on the mantle of making an area list for advertising and setting it up on Facebook so we could run ads, which I did as well. I even made flyers for the company. It was hard at first for everything to get approved, but in the end it did. The changes helped the company become more profitable, even with the constant screw-ups.
Okay, so maybe they didn't really have like an official name yet.
I ended up having to take on the estimate side of things too. I would go with Dad and write stuff down, then help him figure it out later on. I didn't get paid for any of this, by the way. And to be honest, I should have. I would only get paid commission, and needless to say, I was extremely undervalued at the company. Buddy, I think that's your fault.
Yeah.
The commission Dan would pay me would always be crap. Dan would get like $1,000 job and give me $20, that's absurd. Dan would tell me, since you live with me, I'll take out the rest for living expenses. That is if I got paid at all. I would have to then save up for anything I wanted to buy, and it was a real struggle. I worked that job like 7 days a week most times. It didn't really let me have a life now that I think about it. How old were you during this?
No, not.
I need to know that. The job started to get annoying. I would sometimes have to call Dan 50 times for him to pick up if he was late to an appointment or a customer had an issue, and I would then have no clue how to solve the customer's issue. Dan would also have me call for getting a price on all the materials for jobs, but I would sometimes have no clue what type of material it would be. Dan sometimes had an issue with being specific on what he needed. It got to the point where when he didn't answer, I would either reschedule or BS the customer. Dan would also change his mind a lot. Dan would tell me, oh, book it for tomorrow morning, then get upset in the morning that he had an appointment at 8 a.m. He was a real piece of work, to be honest, to deal with when it came to work. I'm guessing super young is the age because it sounds like this is their first exposure to having a job.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's not super young.
What?
Dude, having a job's annoying
Because
a lot.
28 male is OP, but then they started working for the family business a few years ago.
Dan, my father, also had a habit of hiring some terrible workers. Yay! They had issues with waking up. They had issues with doing the job correctly. They had issues with breaking things, customer stuff, company stuff. They would steal from the company.
Yikes.
And one even had a habit of partaking in substances on the job site.
Why? Seems really not beneficial to keep them on.
Finally, one impersonated the company, took money from a customer, and never did the work. Dan ended up having to do it for free. Each time, Dan let them get over on him and never did anything, just complained for weeks on end. Well, he's probably waiting for you to take care of it at this point.
Yeah.
Dan also had issues with customers too. This one guy he constantly worked for would always pay him way less than the job was worth, and Dan would always complain about him, but whenever he called, Dan dropped everything to help the guy out. I never understood it. Dan would also let customers owe him thousands, never send them anything or do anything about it. Let's just say Dan was a real pushover, and the company suffered for it. Yeah, Dan, it's time to send an invoice. People owe you thousands of dollars.
Get your money, man, so that you can pay your workers.
Dan would also at times give customers the wrong price or tell me the wrong price and would try to fix it later on.
Oh, he's like, it's $20. And he's like, why are they paying me $20?
A lot of times, it didn't really work, and Dan would be stuck eating the work. Dan would say, why didn't you give them that price yet? I wasn't ready. I would say, well, you just said that was the price, so I gave it to them. They've been waiting for the price for 2 weeks. Remember, it's the second week of January, and you saw it around Christmas time. That was constantly an issue. Dan ended up developing a substance problem, and the business ended up suffering for it. Dan would mess stuff up and have to come back and fix it constantly. Andrew would constantly have to fix his mistakes. It got annoying. Dan would leave the job with his girlfriend just so they could get their fix and not return for hours. The customer would always be up my butt about it. It got to the point where Andrew and I were basically running the whole company.
Yikes.
Andrew paid well at first, but got greedy. Look for a previous post to see all about that. Now, to the personal stuff. Dan had issues with being emotionally manipulative and would lie to your face constantly. Sounds like
Dude, man's
substance
got
problem.
just tons of issues.
Tell everyone your business, even if it was personal. Make up stories about you. Always bringing stuff up just to cause drama, even if stuff happened years ago. Would also talk behind your back and lie when caught about it. Would always make messes, get in trouble, and I'd have to clean them up. He was also a closeted bigot and homophobic. Dan would always berate me to clean, but Andrew never had to clean anything. The house was always messy because Andrew and Dan both did not clean, like dog poop and pee all over the house.
That's not just not cleaning. That's like you're living in
Neglect.
filth.
Neglect.
Of the dog too, yeah.
Let the dogs outside.
Oh, yikes.
What are you doing? Dishes were constantly in the sink. The oven was dirty, etc., etc. So I would have to work for the company all those hours and still be expected to clean. They'd be like, you just sat around answering phones and stuff. Why can't you clean our messes? Why are we still living here?
Yeah.
Why are we still
need to move
working for this
out. You need to
business?
stop working for them. Take your skills where they're appreciated and get some real money and get a different house.
Dan would constantly be in trouble with the city. Dan liked to leave his tools all over the yard and porch. Dan would get threatened with fines about it constantly. Dan would cuss me out if I didn't clean it, and Andrew would say, what do you really do around here? You can clean it. Oh, I only lifted the whole business up off the ground for y'all.
And continue to clean.
They would get upset if I refused to clean it or complained about it. Dan also had a tendency to cuss you out and then 5 seconds later ask you to do something for them. You know, that type of emotional manipulation, like, why didn't you cook for us? You were here all day. Then can you get me some tea and take off my work shoes? Dan would constantly lose his phone too and would complain if I didn't help him look for it. I would always be setting up a new phone for him, either losing it or him breaking it. Dan would be nice, maybe once a day or so, and be like, do you want anything from the store? Or ask if you needed to go anywhere and needed money for it. Dan would pay for it, not ask for it back. I do not know if this was part of his manipulation or not. Dan was constantly losing stuff, but the workers didn't help that situation either. They would leave stuff outside, and I would have to help him bring it in from the rain or just leave that stuff wherever. I would constantly hear him complaining, and all of it eventually gave me PTSD.
Yeah.
If Dan couldn't find it right away, Dan would jump to someone must have stolen it. Most of the time, it would appear later unless it was left at the job or was indeed stolen.
It's like, someone must have stolen it.
Dan would also let our landlords walk all over us. Dan would never hold them accountable to fix anything. Okay, so at some point, folks, we have to just go, you know what, Dan? I'm
out.
I'm superseding you, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm taking it upon myself, Dan. I'm going to do all of this, Dan. And
Oh, see, I'm just out. At some point, you just leave.
then pay yourself.
Yeah.
I think Dan's so absent at the wheel, you just go, and you know what? I'm going to give myself a bonus, Dan. I'm going to increase my salary, Dan. And why
Thanks,
don't you just
Dan.
go stop it? Let me take care of the whole business, and you'll get paid the exact same amount, and I'll get paid more. Just shut up, leave us alone, go away. This is my business now.
Dang. I
That's
would.
what he wants.
But yeah, but I feel like you just can't get anything out of this business. I feel
Just
like
go,
you just
"Dan."
gotta get you gotta leave.
Dan would let our landlords walk all over us as well. Dan would never hold them accountable to fix anything, and I would constantly have to deal with broken things. One time we had mice and the landlord wouldn't deal with it. Another time we moved into a place with black mold. I got sick and he still did nothing. So I ended up having to live with them for over a year. chewed up a lot of my clothing, still having to replace clothing to this day.
Yikes.
That is only because I'm a little picky, but also don't tend to buy stuff for myself, but always do for other people. Dan was also a blame shifter. If he did something wrong, he would also gaslight the situation by saying, oh, but remember when you did this 5 years ago? Or it wasn't my fault. It's because Andrew didn't leave in time. Dan would do something to Andrew. Dan was always the type to gaslight you no matter the situation. I'd ask, did you do this? And Dan would say, yeah. Then I'd be like, well, okay, let's figure it out then. And the story would change. Dan would say, oh, I didn't actually go. Can you reschedule for me? I didn't feel like calling them, so you can handle it. Dan would even gaslight me about the bills. I'd be like, well, the office phone and Wi-Fi are off. Dan would say, well, I know I paid them this month, when in actuality, he paid them 2 months ago. I even at one time almost lost my healthcare because he didn't fill out the paperwork. Going grocery shopping with Dan was a pain also. He was so embarrassing. We would go to a cheap store since he wanted to save money. Dan would find some way to complain about whatever we were getting, but then cry later on because we forgot something he wanted. I would constantly have to threaten to leave the store with nothing for him to calm down.
I just want OP to leave.
By the way, I'd be the one getting the sensible stuff for the house, so we would always have food just in case something happened. So I would always be buying pantry staples and buying in bulk to fill up the cabinets. I did most of the cooking, so I bought what I liked to cook mostly and cooked for the whole house. Dan liked to tell everyone your business, like I mentioned before. He would be on the phone with a customer and randomly say, this traumatizing thing happened to Andrew a couple of years ago. What? What?
What are we talking?
He's on the phone with customers like, oh, you won't believe the trauma that my kid went through a couple years ago, man.
My son was traumatized.
Woo!
Do you want lawn services?
Yeah, if you listen to this story, I'll give you $50 off. Dan, stop giving them trauma discounts.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it'll only be $20 if you listen to the story. And then like 3 days later, he's like, it's $60. What are you talking about? I never said 20.
He would do the same thing to me. After a while, I stopped telling him stuff unless it pertained to work or bills. I would also get calls from the landlord saying, why is Dan saying this or that happened? One time, me and Andrew spilled the beans on the horrid. Mentioned more below, and his girlfriend's other issues. Oh God, there's a horde? What are they hoarding?
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
Lordy horde.
Nothing's ever positive when you hear the term the horde.
Yeah.
There's a horde.
And
oh,
then we're,
God.
in freaking The Hobbit, and the Smaug is gonna get you.
Dan thought we stabbed him in the back, but I didn't appreciate the landlord always coming to fact check his lies. It was very annoying. I did so much for Dan. I did it for Dan. I was doing it for Dan.
Do it for Dan.
But it felt like it was never enough for him.
Never enough for Dan.
He would always find some way to complain. Dan was never happy, to be honest. We have all known someone like that. He was very tiresome to be around. So back to something I mentioned before. Oh, I think this is the horde. Dan gained his girlfriend, Tracy. So Dan and Tracy would constantly talk behind your back, even if it was sometimes about stupid stuff. It was quite annoying and caused a fair few arguments, among other things Tracy would do, like take all the towels out of the only bathroom and put them all in her room. Tracy wouldn't even leave one.
Tracy.
Tracy would not leave a single towel. Tracy would take whatever you bought and put it in her room.
What's she doing with all these towels?
A cooking utensil, etc.
She's got a spatula in her room. She's like,
This is the
sorry, I need
horde.
this.
This is the
Oh my
horde
God,
she's hoarding.
She's a little magpie.
She's just collecting shiny objects to attract a mate. That's amazing. Tracy would sleep all day long and stay up all night, pretending to clean stuff, when in fact she would just be, in an altered state and needed stuff to do. Ooh, just a little late night teeth grinding, I assume. Tracy was also a compulsive liar and a hoarder. She would constantly lie about taking her stuff, what would be like, I don't know how it got there, when it was found in her hoard. I tried to help her clean it multiple times just to be a nice person and to not get thrown out by the landlord for said hoard. It would constantly end up back the way it was, and Tracy would always have an excuse for it, saying, I'll get to it tomorrow. Tomorrow would get there and she'd say, I'm in pain, or I don't feel well.
I'm in pain.
But then refuse to go to the doctor. I hate that so much.
Complainers and not doing nothing about it.
Tracy was also very selfish. Tracy, she would do things for herself before she would ever do them for you. She would always accuse Dan of cheating constantly, but then ask him for, just give me, hey, bum a cigarette off your plate. Give me a bag. Yeah, come on.
Just a little cig.
Tracy would then get very angry if Dan didn't answer her call for a precious cigarette.
Please, give me a cig.
She would also witch out Dan over stupid stuff or stuff she knew nothing about all the time. Tracy would also sleep all day and would procrastinate when it comes to doing things. She would, for instance, say, oh yeah, I paid that bill. But then it would get shut off because she didn't feel like doing it at that time.
So she's not procrastinating. She's like, well, she is, but she's also just lying.
She would always lie about it or play stupid. Playing stupid was always her go-to. If she would get called out in a lie, let's just say I didn't like Tracy at all in the slightest. Tracy's stealing being one of the main issues I didn't like, which is the issue I had with Tracy's. This one day I had a date, so I woke up early to get ready for said date, and Tracy took all my shampoo and conditioner that I bought for my hair. They were big bottles too. She swore up and down that she didn't have them, so I said, all right. It was like 7 a.m., so I said to her, I'm going to just complain until they reappear. I guess you're not sleeping. So after like 20 minutes of Dan and Tracy hearing that, they magically appeared on the kitchen table. What? Tracy also had this tendency to hide things and then forget about them later on. Tracy would always hide the job money to where only she knew where it was. One time it went missing. It was like $1,200. Needless to say, that never showed up.
She's freaking stealing. She's just stealing.
God, what are we doing, man? At this point, go start your own lawn care business.
I truly don't understand why OP has stayed as long as they have, because I'd be out of there.
Yeah.
I would be out of there so quick.
At some point, you got to say, I got to go. You sound like you're a smart guy. You got a good head on your shoulders. You're resourceful. You've helped this business succeed. Start a new lawn care business called Dan's Son.
Dan's Son.
No Dan,
just Son.
No Dan, just Son, the good one.
Lawn.
Get
services.
Andrew out of there too. I don't know. Get anyone who's
Andrew
a
can
good
also
member
sucks.
of this.
Yeah.
We haven't really heard anything about Andrew.
No, Andrew's
Andrew
like
would be like,
bullying
oh yeah,
him.
you don't really do anything, do you?
anything.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
Don't bring
can't
Andrew.
come.
Andrew's excluded.
It was hard to look anyways because there would only be a path in the room. The rest was just stuff piled everywhere. Books, kitchen stuff, toiletries, trees, clothing, etc. Do you live in a TARDIS?
Oh, see, I was going to say is she working at a Home Depot?
I don't know. I swear, though, to this day that she spent the money on substances. Yeah, of course she did.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's
of course
up in the middle of the night pretending to clean.
Yeah.
Only she was allowed to know where stuff was, including cleaning stuff. I'd constantly have to ask after I put it away in one spot and it wasn't there. Tracy was constantly doing dumb things and Dan was always sticking up for her, but then complained to her about it too. It was weird. I would clean the dishes, put them away, and 2 hours later, they would be moved because Tracy would say, I didn't like them there. Why is Tracy living with us? Oh, wait, that's right, because they're both addicts in active addiction.
Tracy, no one wants you.
My bad. Tracy would also start laundry, then leave it there for 2 weeks while the whole time everyone else's laundry built up, and she would witch you out if you touched it. I'm throwing it in the backyard. I, to be honest, don't know why they're still together because they're addicts, and they are leaning on each other to, exist. Maybe it's because Tracy's brother passed away and she was living with him before, but has nowhere to go now with her 2 cats, dog, and all her junk. Now, here is where the boyfriend comes into the situation. Me and him, being 31, met on Tinder back in early 2024. We clicked. He ended up moving in with me and helped out a lot because I wasn't getting help from any of them. Boyfriend, let's call him Devin. Devin always helped me clean or with work stuff whenever he would be done with work himself. Devin also helped with bills and would get help whenever me and him needed since my job didn't pay much. Let's just say Dan didn't like Devin for any of this. Maybe Dan felt he was getting replaced. Dan would always mutter something bad to Devin under his breath. I guess he was afraid of Devin or something. Whenever Devin would confront him about it, Dan would walk away and not say anything about it. Dan also didn't like that Devin made me realize I'm worth more than $20 per job and that I should be getting 10%. Me and Dan fought about that for weeks. I had finally learned my worth Dan ended up not paying my worth, so I quit. Gave him my final estimates and was done. It would always be about Devin being gay or being overweight. Devin didn't tell me at first. He just took it on the chin. How are these interactions even being facilitated? I'm so confused. Thank God you found somebody who made you see you're worth more than this situation. But I still suggest therapy.
Oh, absolutely. You
Because
need therapy.
it's stunning
I mean, the
to
fact
me.
that you stayed in this situation for so long, you
Exactly.
definitely need therapy to tell you how to not do that ever again.
ever again. Devin didn't take crap from anybody, but was being a nice person because I had asked him to. I'd tell him I don't want any problems and just let it go. Once he did, though, I was extremely upset about it. So next time Dan said it, I smacked Dan in the face and walked away. Dan didn't say or do anything for the rest of the night. And then everyone got up and clapped. Devin was proud of me for sticking up for myself because of all the mistreatment Dan had given me over the years. A few weeks later, Dan and Andrew plotted against me and Devin to get Devin to move out. When did Devin move in? We skipped that part.
Oh, why did Devin move in?
How is Devin
We should've
living in the
moved-
hoarder house
we
with you,
should've
your
moved-
dad, your brother, and Tracy?
We should have moved in with Devin somewhere else.
Andrew had his own issues with Devin, which I mentioned previously in another post, along with Andrew not being allowed to be an a-hole to me anymore because Devin didn't let him. They made up some story because they owed the landlord money and said, I said some things to the landlord. How are you going to make up a story to the landlord that someone else said something that wasn't said by them? This is so, we're getting close to the end, folks. We're at the finish line. Now everyone had to move out, which I later found out from the landlord. He just wanted his money. I went into more detail about this in a previous post. I figured if Devin bought it, he would move out and I would stay. I ended up leaving with Devin. So a few days before, Dan starts pitching a fit about us late at night, and Devin ends up giving him a little smackerino. For all the months of abuse he had given both of us, Dan is quiet the rest of the time. And folks, if you're having a quiet moment right now and you're like, how do I fill this silence? You can go listen to full episodes with stories a little less annoying than this one. And they're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. Just search OK Storytime. You've got more than 2,000 stories to search from.
So many.
Your selection
So
is
many.
so wide. After we leave, Devin puts Dan's work number on all kinds of rehab services and telemarketing services. Dan had to get his work number, which he has had for over 10 years now, changed. Needless to say, we had the last laugh because now none of his customers that had his number saved or memorized can get a hold of Dan. I've gone no contact with Dan, Andrew, and Tracy, by the way. Am I the a-hole for quitting the family business, realizing I'm better off not living with that toxic behavior and moving out? Also, not letting my boyfriend get some petty revenge on him and essentially Andrew too, since Andrew worked for Dan. And that is the end of that story.
My father blew company profits on his mistress while I sweat building it.
Well, that's just not fair.
Some background, my dad started his own business a little over 20 years ago. It started as a one-man band and has grown slowly. It is a small but profitable manufacturing operation in a fairly niche market with quite a bit of room to expand. I've been working there ever since I was old enough and began full-time as soon as I completed college. Literally the day of my final exam, I went into work in the afternoon. By the way, this comes from Under Dad's Thumb, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I started encountering some issues with my dad and some serious clashing of heads pretty much as soon as I started working full time. It took an age for him to get around to moving me onto a salary package, and the first one he presented me with was disappointing. It was very small, maybe 20% lower than a starting salary for any entry-level job. He didn't believe me, thinking it was a competitive wage. It took his accountant to actually convince him of what the minimum I should be getting paid was, and that's what I got. The minimum. That's wild.
Yeah.
To pay to pay your own child like the minimum,
Right.
in that wow. At the time, I kind of just grinned and bore it. It wasn't ideal and it barely covered the cost of living, but I reminded myself that the long-term goal of eventually owning the place would be worth it. Once I moved into full-time hours, he began to travel extensively. I got about 2 weeks of training in the day-to-day operation of the business. Previously, I handled all the manufacturing, and off he went. The first year was pretty brutal. I was swimming in the responsibility of maintaining a business for the first time, and Dad was securing new contracts and distributors. I was getting swamped from learning on the fly while still being the primary manufacturer. Some weeks were 12 plus hours a day and a lot of weekends, and you're still not getting paid for like properly?
Yikes.
I like at that point you gotta self-advocate.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone's not, regardless of whether or not they're family, if they're not paying you what you deserve,
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I need more money than this.
Right.
It eased off a bit when I convinced him to hire some more full-time employees. I became more comfortable in the extensive list of responsibilities I had, and it felt like things for me started to stabilize after about the third year. To give you some perspective, in the first 18 months, he was probably around for maybe 6 to 8 of them. Wow. As of right now, he's probably out of the country or interstate for a minimum of 30 to 40% of the year. After the first 3-year stint, I started to feel quite a bit of financial pressure. I felt undervalued, was essentially making just enough to pay rent and utilities, and wasn't saving a dime. Throughout this period, I received no increase to my salary. I had to fight him for over 6 months to recognize that, at the very least, salary adjustments for inflation needed to be made. Once again, it took the accountant to confirm that yes, inflationary adjustments are a thing. This is why all of your meetings with him about finances, accountant should be there. I think if I were to give you advice, it seems like this story is, going to continue.
Sure.
Regardless of my advice. But in this moment, if I were to give you advice, I think get a meeting with the accountant, show him what you like, what finances you're paying for, what you need, all the work that you're doing, just like lay it all out for
Have
him.
like a mediator.
Yeah, I think the accountant.
Yeah.
This was about the time that I first caught wind of his mistress.
Uh-oh.
He had been spending a lot of time visiting one of our suppliers overseas. This was the primary destination of most of his travel. I didn't really think much of it as they were being bees. I was under the impression that we were gearing up to drop them in favor of someone else that was already secured. But this process dragged on for what was eventually years. Every time he was in the country and I would come into his office, I could hear him talking to someone on Skype, and he would bang his laptop lid down with a startled look on his face every single time. That's not suspicious at all.
Not at all.
On one of those days, I needed a file off his computer while he was out. He told me where to find it over the phone, so I stomped upstairs and opened it up. He forgot to close Skype, or even minimize it for that matter. What I was presented with was a chat history that was very incriminating. I was furious. This was family destroying stuff, considering he is still married to my mother. I confronted him about it and absolutely exploded. I don't think he's ever truly seen me so angry before. Without going into too much detail, he managed to convince me that I was just a close friend and that nothing spicy related was going on. He managed to convince you?
Bro.
Dude, you need to both advocate for yourself and also
Trust yourself.
trust your gut, because come on. That was the most obvious cheating that you already confronted him for it.
Yeah, you don't try to slam the computer down and hide just a friend.
The explicit stuff that I saw was just joking around. He convinced you? There was explicit stuff and he convinced you that it was just a friend that they were joking around with?
Oh no.
OP is so deeply in denial. He's like, I'd rather it not be true, so I'm just going to believe that really bad lie. I think in a desperate attempt to not see the family torn apart, I accepted his explanation, along with a mention that anything spicy related is literally impossible for him now due to some health issues / old age. So like a chump, I ate his crap and buried it in the back of my mind. A couple more years passed and life happened. I got engaged, then married.
Wow.
Dude, wait, I'm sorry. You just never followed back up on that? You're like, well, he says he's not cheating, so
Gonna put the blindfold on for a bit.
yeah.
Just go live my life.
He's not cheating. He continued to travel extensively, always winding up in the same place. My hackle started getting up as the issue with one of our suppliers just dragged on and on. I simply couldn't even understand why he was continuing to even entertain doing business with them. He started making some weird decisions, like setting up an overseas office and renting a small property for storage so that we could ship immediately from a supplier we were going to drop. A supplier that we continued to purchase from, despite them jacking up prices that nearly pushed it past the point of profitability. It turns out the property he has been renting for the past 2 years is just an apartment, one that I have a fairly educated guess is for his mistress. He also kept talking about getting a visa for a few people to come over and train. I ended up finding a visa rejection letter for who I'm certain is the mistress. Anyway, about a year ago, I once again started feeling some pretty extreme financial pressure. I'd found my own place with my wife, and we were barely covering rent and utilities with 3 jobs between us. I requested a salary increase, which would be my first ever raise. Dad wasn't having a bar of it. After all, when he's in the country, I'm just a grunt, right? All I really do is basic manufacturing. What worth is there in increasing my salary? Besides, he hasn't even yet seen me step up to that plate to his satisfaction. Not to mention that asking for a comparable salary that I showed him evidence of, industry standard for basic workers in manufacturing, may not be financially viable. It's really about what the business can afford, and high salaries just aren't affordable. I bit my tongue hard at that remark, considering his 12 plus international trips per year, plus half as many interstate. He assured me he looked into it though, and a few months later, I received a very modest pay bump. I'm pissed at OP. I'm pissed. Like, 1, you're staying in this business.
Right.
You're not getting paid in. 2,
Right.
you know about this affair, regardless of whether or not you're willing to like actually recognize that it's happening.
Yeah.
You know about it.
Right.
And even if you're not going to tell your mother, which is already messed up,
Yeah.
you should at least be freaking blackmailing him. I don't know. If you're not going to tell your mom, which
Yeah.
is so messed up.
Use
to
it
be
to
clear.
your advantage.
Yeah, like you're just sitting there with your blinders on,
Right.
being like, "Can I have a little bit of a raise, please?"
Yeah.
And your dad's like, "No," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, I guess I'm gonna stay here forever."
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, just get another job.
Like, why? Like, he's
I
like, "Oh, I
get-
want to stay here because I want to like take over the business."
Yeah.
Do you have any proof that he's gonna give you the business?
Yeah. And so far, it does not seem like that's gonna happen.
Nope. So
Not
like
at
you're
all.
just waiting in this like dead end job with your cheater father doing
Yeah.
nothing about either thing.
Yeah.
To the present and my predicament. It is now extremely obvious that he's traveling overseas exclusively to visit this mistress. He doesn't even give excuses as to why he's going overseas anymore. Just says, going to X country for Y weeks. Yeah, because he thinks you know and that you're just like ignoring it for him.
Right.
We don't even do business with the supplier of the country he was/is going to anymore. So here I sit, managing a business that pays me pennies to fund my dad's extravagances. I have very little capacity to save, and as it stands, it will take me over 6 years to save for a house deposit in a housing market that is increasing in value at a rate of over 15% per quarter. Having children is an impossibility, as even a month out of work for my wife will see us in debt. Of the small number of employees we have, every one of them works a second job. No one except the boss man is earning a comfortable living. The difference between my salary and our general office worker is about $100 per week. She's been working here for 2 years. I've been here since I was 16.
Ooh.
What has brought this to a head is a little digging into my very limited access to the business's finances. It's the one aspect he has absolute control over, and I have a feeling it's to mask his own excesses. He is now taking the mistress on international and local holidays regularly, all on the company's dime. Is continuing this relationship is handicapping the financial security of the employees of this business, and he has made poor decisions over a number of years in an effort to maintain the charade that every trip is in the best interests of the business. We haven't had any new customers in 2 years. That was supposed to be a big part of his travel. In fact, I recently learned that he had a conversation with our office worker, and he's stopped effing looking for new business because we're now making enough money and we're in a comfortable place. To be clear on this point, he's right. I don't have much access to the finances, but I know without going into too much detail that we make very good amount of money for the size of the business. Yeah, and also because he's not paying his workers.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're comfortable because if I pay all of you under what you're supposed to be paid,
Yeah.
then the business is profitable.
Right. But it's like, what's the point of it being profitable if no
Yeah.
one's gonna actually like reap the benefits besides you?
Yeah, that's how all giant businesses operate. Like that's
Yeah.
why places like Amazon and like those big places are
Right.
profitable, because they rely on really, really cheap labor.
Yeah.
Most times labor abroad,
Right.
so you can get around labor thing. And that's like to a much smaller extent. That's what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
paying his workers nothing for massive amounts of work.
Right.
How in the holy heck am I supposed to navigate this? I've sunk my career building years into this business, and the inevitable confrontation that will result after I bring this cluster F to light with him could spark him to just up and sell the business from under us. Over the past couple of years, he offhandedly mentioned how tempting it would be to take an offer on the sale price this business would attract. Then why are you here? He's gonna sell it. You're
Yeah.
not gonna get it. He's not gonna give it to you.
Right.
I'd be left with my butt in the breeze with very few transferable skills and a degree that has been collecting dust in a field that would be extremely difficult to break into. As it stands, I have no stake in the business. There's no way to realistically force him out, and his total total lack of interest in teaching me the few critical aspects of running the place that are left means that if he just vanishes or says F it and dumps it in my lap, there's a high risk of seeing the place collapse if I'm not on top of my game. And always in the back of my mind, which I have barely acknowledged, is the fallout that will occur with my family and my poor effing mother. I can barely even process this side of it. Even if I don't confront him, I don't really know how he's going to repair our relationship. My resentment is building. My fury is absolute. I mean, do you guys even really have a relationship? Like, he's
I don't know.
gone 6 to 8 months of the year.
Right.
He's paying you pennies and
Right.
he's cheating on your mother. Like, do you have a good relationship in general?
Doesn't sound like it.
The only consolation I can take is that without this ridiculous situation, I would have never met my wife. Truthfully, if I had my time again, I'd still put myself through this effing gauntlet. She is the shimmer at the end of this dark void, the lit candle that prevents me from cursing the darkness. As always, any advice will be appreciated. And there is an update, but do you have any thoughts?
I feel like you know. OP.
You know.
OP is like asking, what should I do? What do I need to do? I feel like you know.
I agree.
Trust your gut. You know that what he's doing is wrong. So yeah, he needs to be confronted about it. And that can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary.
Yeah. Confront him, quit, all of
Yeah.
them.
All of the above.
All of the above, man. I just can't stay here. Update. Well, Reddit, this is a not so happy update. A few days after I put up the OP, I brought all the evidence I had to my mother. She was mortified. And we spent the next week while he was overseas collecting evidence. Oh, wait. Also, I wonder, depending on whether or not they signed like a prenup, she might be able to get the business.
Yeah.
In which
And
case, OP
OP
can just take over.
Right.
I mean, he said he doesn't know how to run it.
Sure,
but, you know, you
but
can figure it out.
Figure it out.
You've been there since you were 16.
Yeah.
Turns out he wasn't as smart as I thought he was and was barely covering his tracks. Over a 3-year period, he spent probably $100K on various trips and salary for his mistress, including joint travel to various countries, flying business class. Mom took the evidence and brought it to a lawyer, putting all the pieces into place for a possible divorce. I was told explicitly not to interfere, as she wished to preserve the relationship I had with my father. Doesn't have one. From phone calls over the course of several days, I found out that she was trying to make it work and salvage the marriage. What? Salvage what?
Oh no.
He's been cheating for at least 3 years,
Yeah.
probably more.
Yeah.
He has no desire. Like, he doesn't feel bad about that at all.
Everyone is just so hopeful
Everyone's
and
just so
wishful.
delusional.
Yeah.
I learned fairly quickly that despite the boatload of evidence, he had managed to convince her that it was merely a friend. You
Oh,
and
these
your
poor-
mom are exactly alike.
These poor people.
These poor silly people.
Oh,
These poor
man.
silly dum-dums. She promised me that she was still suspicious of everything he had said, but told me to keep out of it and said she was working through it. A week later, I received a substantial salary increase. See? That's what I said, dude.
Yeah.
Blackmail. Could have gotten
you
that
go.
ages ago. For the first time in my life, pushing me into middle income. I was still pissed off and incredibly angry and kept my head down. A couple of months passed where I was monitoring what was happening, continuing to collect evidence. Assurances that the friendship was done did nothing for my state of mind, as I could clearly see the opposite. He was still interacting with her on a daily basis. When this was brought to mom again, nothing happened, and I realized I was on my own. I was like, what? I mean, it kind of makes sense why OP never brought this to the mom until he
Yeah.
had like really, really solid proof, because she probably wouldn't have done anything at all then.
Yeah.
If OP was like, hey, I saw these like explicit messages, and she was like, oh no, he said it was a friend.
Right.
Like, if even
right.
mountains of proof doesn't change her mind,
Yeah.
the anger got the better of me and I sunk into a pretty bad lethargy. I was procrastinating at work, not being all that productive. I should have been more proactive in my planning, but it was effing with my head so bad that I just felt like I was falling into a pit with no way out. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I uncovered evidence that he was making moves or had already succeeded in getting the mistress to my country. Here! That snapped me out of my funk pretty hard. Well, in either a move of blinding stupidity or rage, I confronted him. It quickly turned into a crap fight, with most of it being me standing there listening to him rage. He basically told me that I was insane, was overthinking things, and making connections in my head that weren't really there. I interrupted a few times to refute this, and it then turned into him screaming into my face that his personal life was none of my business. I told him that when his personal life affects our business, then I absolutely have the right to say something. I expressed my belief that his personal life was leading to and has led to poor decisions for this business, and that he didn't really care about its development as long as the money was rolling in for him to do whatever the heck he wants. He called me ungrateful and said that all the things he's done for me gives me no right to speak to him like this, that the reality of the business was far removed from what I believed it to be, and that I'm basically a clueless kid who makes assumptions because I've never been in a real job and don't understand how businesses work. I won't go into detail, but the argument evolved pretty rapidly from there. It turned into him going on at length about my personal failings and criticisms of me being a crappy husband to my wife because of hobbies I chose to pursue, how he should command respect being my dad, and that I have no right to even speak to him with a raised voice. I mostly kept my cool, but I won't lie. I went off a few times refuting some of the more ridiculous things that he said, making sure that he understood that some of the crap he said was completely unacceptable. I don't think there's anything I said in the moment that I regret. I was strangely calm after the fact. I was expecting a mountain of stress and anger to crush me. By the way, you know what will crush you?
What?
The amount of full episodes and stories that we have waiting for you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime. Get crushed by all those episodes. But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I thought it was really funny when he said, like, you've never had a real job in your life. And it's like, I've been working for you.
Like since I was 16. Yeah.
I've been working in your company. So what do you mean? Either
is your job fake?
Yeah, either you're totally discounting like your own job, or you're admitting that you haven't been giving me a real job this whole time.
Exactly. Like, he's like, you don't have the skills. Like, you haven't taught me anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's been no, I think a good job teaches you new skills. Like you start off with, of course, you have to have some skills when you start off with the job.
Sure.
But it's all about like you're learning. Like, why would you? I don't know.
You can learn so much. That's like, you know, especially if you're not getting paid that much. Like if you're learning something, then that's like
that's
almost as good.
Agreed. But there is a little bit more. As it stands, I have no idea if I have a job on Monday. The last thing he said to me before storming out was that I better effing apologize for the things I said to him. So yeah, I think my world just exploded. P.S. Probably the best one-liner I heard from him was an anecdote where he believed the most successful people in business get to a point where they don't have to do anything. I laughed at that.
Okay.
Yikes. I mean, like, I think to an extent that's true. Like at a certain point you do want you've delegated so much that you can kind of just let, you know, your underlings run the business, but you are not there yet, bud.
Yeah.
You are not anywhere near there.
Fake it till you make it doesn't work in this situation.
There's also just like other tasks that you then have to take over once you like let the more menial labor tasks. You give those off to someone. So
yeah,
you're never doing nothing. But that is the end of that story.
My sister's actions make everything unbearable. It's tearing the family apart.
Tell her to knock it off.
I'm one of 4 girls. Our childhood was great. And up until about 2 years ago, I thought I was lucky to be part of such a perfect family.
Oh.
I have 2 younger sisters, Bella, 15, Daisy, 17, and an older sister, Lena, 21. By the way, this comes from Square Circles. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, growing up, Lena and I never got along. I did not find it much of a problem, despite many arguments over our shared bathroom and her purposefully excluding me from everything that she would do. She would purposefully exclude me from everything that she would do because I had my 2 younger siblings to play with. Lena is extremely diligent about her academics and has little to no social life. She went to a prestigious boarding school at 14 and a fantastic university after that and graduated in 3 years with a 4.0 GPA.
Look at her go, man.
What a resume, man.
Yeah.
Immediately after her graduation, she moved back to our small town and got a summer job at one of the local businesses. This was last summer. She then decided that she wanted to stay for the entire year, which I didn't care about because I was about to leave for my freshman year in college and would not have to be around her. However, she recently decided to stay for yet another year, and I don't know what to do, as she is ruining our family. Oh boy.
Whoa, what's she doing?
What's she doing? So I am her polar opposite. I have also been academically successful, but like to balance my life and prefer to get grades that are not perfect in order to do everything else that I love. I held leadership positions in high school, I had 3 serious boyfriends who spent a lot of time in our home, and was surrounded by tons of friends.
Okay, brag. Oh, he's like, yeah,
I know.
I was also good at school, but my life was more fun.
Yeah, exactly. I also like to go out and did your typical teenage things, such as sneaking out or sleeping at my boyfriend's house when I was not supposed to. Lena has never had a boyfriend, and I am convinced that she's never had spicy sleep. She is extremely judgmental of everyone, in addition to being discriminatory and
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Whoa.
Not good.
She does not trust anyone outside of our family and has 2 friends who don't live in our town that she sometimes remains in contact with. She has no social media accounts and has a strange fear that anything about her online will somehow affect her later in life. We had a slightly crude / inappropriate name for our family group chat, for example, but we are a funny family, except she freaked out and made us change it. So after coming back home, she does not realize how our family has changed and how we have grown up.
It seems like she's like gotten in this very like modesty, like purity culture.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Well,
maybe she like
yeah.
went, like it seems like she like the family is not like that.
Yeah. Family's a
And
little
somehow
more
she's
relaxed.
kind of like, because Opie said sexist, and I'm wondering if she means like, oh, like she doesn't like men, or if it's like she thinks women should do, you know, this and this. And
like you know, fake feminism where they're like women are better than men, that kind of
oh
thing.
well, no, I'm wondering if it's like the misandry, or if it's like she's saying like traditional values for women, you know, like
Yeah, maybe.
if she's doing the traditional values for women thing, that could kind of go in line with the purity
Right.
where she aspects.
Maybe. She resented all of my boyfriends, and when she would be home for breaks, she would complain to my parents how they would give her a look or how she felt that they didn't treat her correctly. They never did anything to her, though. Additionally, she is extremely jealous of the relationship I have with my 2 younger sisters. They are my best friends. We've seriously made an effort to include her whenever she would be home, but she is honestly no fun to be around. Boom, roasted.
You just kind of sorry.
But it's like, well, yeah, if you're gonna, you know, exclude them from doing things with you, because you're just like pushing all of your younger siblings together, well, it's like, yeah, they're gonna be closer.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, your whole life she's done this, and now every time you guys try to have fun, she's like, no, stop it.
Yeah, it's kind of on you, man.
Yeah.
I will take drives with my little sisters to get froyo, for example, and here is one of 2 scenarios. 1, if I invite Lena, she will first check with my parents if this is okay. She will also need about a day's notice, as she very specifically plans the time of day when she does things, even though she does not do much outside of work downtown. So obviously, if I invite her 20 minutes before, she will get mad and say that she would have come if I told her sooner because she needs to get ready. We will then proceed to leave for froyo without her, and she will tell my parents that we didn't tell her in advance and that she feels excluded. My little sisters and I will get yelled at by my parents.
Wait, so you're supposed to plan all of your froyo trips like a week in advance?
Yeah.
Like, okay, put it on the calendar, froyo.
Right.
Yeah.
And another likely scenario, if I do not invite Lena, she will later find out that we went to froyo without her and will cry to my parents about how excluded she feels. She's 21. Alas, my little sisters and I will still get yelled at. This happened over and over again in the summer, and there came a point where we'd have to sneak around both of my parents and my sisters. I feel relieved that I do not live at home anymore, but the way in which she has terrorized my sisters makes me furious. Here are some examples of what she does. 1. She refuses to give my sisters rides to school, even when promised that she would. My parents and Lena have a rotation. Keep in mind, my school is a seriously 3-minute drive away, and even on the way to her work. She has refused to drive them because she was, quote, about to make her oatmeal, or because she had to focus on preparing for work. Her work involves sitting behind a desk. She's like an intern who gets paid really well because she ended up staying after summer. Her work does not involve preparation outside of the office. Another example, she will refuse to let my younger sister, who is 17, take a car when she needs it for tennis practice, and she will hide her keys. She brainwashes my parents into thinking that this is okay by telling them she's only 17 and can't be trusted on the road. My sister has had to walk to tennis because of this or beg my parents for a ride. 3, Lena used to be overweight and is now more towards a normal weight. However, she body shames me even though I have no reason to be insecure, and body shames my younger sisters constantly. Whenever we eat, she says that we need to stop stuffing our faces, and she will just stand and linger in the kitchen to watch what kind of snacks we eat and if we will clean up after ourselves. She will yell at us constantly to clean things or do things. My parents, though, still think that she's an angel. 4, Lena even went to, quote, parents' day at my sister's school and accompanies my parents to all adult events that they attend, such as cocktail parties, dinners, or other events. She even polices my mom's booze and takes all these responsibilities upon herself, even though no one wants her to. She eats dinner with my parents every night, does not go out, does not have friends, and gossips about us to our parents. Lena also has an irrational fear of bad things happening. She triple checks that all of our doors are locked at all times, even though we live in a town with virtually no crime, and my parents like them open.
It sounds a little bit like OCD.
That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
too. I think
It sounds like she's undiagnosed.
yeah.
And it sounds like a lot of your problems would go away if you talk to your parents about getting her diagnosed.
Right. When I came home for Christmas, there were signs all over my room. Don't forget to turn the lights off when leaving. And one's in the bathroom. Unplug everything when done, because she thinks that the house could set on fire. Like I mentioned earlier, she has an extreme distrust of outsiders as well and will treat someone differently heavily based on their appearance. She once refused to eat ice cream inside of an ice cream store because a black man was sitting there. Yikes, man.
That's just
That's not OCD, my guy.
that's just plain old.
Yep.
What? And your parents are just fine with this?
Yeah.
What
Dude.
the heck?
There are so many more things that she does, but it comes down to her being a wannabe mom, but a terrible one. She just yells at my sisters, yells at me, and then has mental breakdowns about how we exclude her. I'm sorry, and I know this is harsh, but she has no life. We live in a very small town. There is nothing for her here. Yep. And she really needs to leave. I get angry when I think about how she's basically freeloading off my parents for another year. She doesn't contribute any gas, food, or anything for free housing. She takes up space and causes a lot of stress. She has all these strange routines and ways in which things have to be done, or else she will freak out. You would think she is OCD or something, yet her room is always disgustingly messy, and that does not seem to fit the profile.
There are different things. It's not OCD.
Yeah.
I feel like OCD has like this reputation of everything has to be neatly in order, but it can also just be like like invasive thoughts. Is a lot of from what I know of it. It's like, oh my god, if I don't do this, it's got like someone's gonna pass away. Oh my god, if I don't do this, I'm gonna get like, the house is gonna go on fire. So it's more invasive thoughts.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's like if the messy room could still fit into OCD. If it's like
I think it could.
Yeah, if it's like the kind of thing where it's like she's in control of that, but then when she gets really freaked out when she's not in control of everyone else's stuff and like what everyone else is doing or eating or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I don't
she's
think
fine
like
with the messy room.
keeping a clean room. I think it can be, but I don't think it's like the textbook definition, because it's just obsessive compulsive disorder. So it's like
Right.
you obsess over things. So
Yeah. I wouldn't rule it out because of that.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you don't have ADHD because you can sit
you
quietly
got good grades
and you can sit still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there are different types of ADHD.
Right. But anyway, I'd like to note that when she was in college, she called my parents every day. She would get furious if they didn't make time for her and needed their undivided attention for about 45 minutes daily. My parents just think it's sweet and that she means well, but her obsession with our family, in a sense, is really driving me and my sisters crazy. When my parents and sisters came to visit me in college for a long weekend, all she did was mope around. I invited her to go out with me, to parties, etc., but she always refused. When I asked my dad what was up with her, he told me that I needed to stop rubbing it in her face how amazing my college experience is and that we need to let her be a little upset. This is crap. I made my college experience amazing because I wanted it to be. She could have done the same. Her behavior towards us is so awful that I'm spending the summer in my college town and I'm not going on our annual trip to Florida. I know it sounds stupid, but this is a big deal for my family. My little sisters have expressed interest in staying with me, which I would love, but my parents need to be on board with this and financially support them, as I only have the money to sustain myself at the moment. The worst part is that my parents are brainwashed. They think she's perfect, and when she comes to them crying about how we exclude her, they actually agree with her, and we get punished and reprimanded. My parents' marriage is going to crap as well, as she constantly points out what my dad isn't doing and sides with my mom in everything. My dad is too afraid to stand up for himself, as he does not want to deal with more criticism from my mother. He now goes out of town 3 days a week for business and stays with his best friend. I have been in therapy as a consequence of Lena's abuse towards me. I was painted as the impulsive, overacting sister, as I would stand up against the things that she did and said, but was always seen as the bad guy. I have never seen Lena smile, laugh, or simply let go. She is so uptight that it really is making her life hard to live, but she seems comfortable being angry and upset with things all the time, and a lack of friendship or romance in her life. I have never met anyone like her, and I really find her personality absurd and am looking for some insight. What is her deal? How can I help my little sisters? They call me several times a week, and I always get a news story or two about Lena. My parents do everything for her, and I think that she needs to leave and get on with her life. I got a big scholarship to my college, worked 2 jobs for pocket money and long-term saving money, signed my own lease for a house next year, get good enough grades, and rely less on my parents than she does. She seems like an alien to me, as I don't understand her at all, and have never met anyone with such extreme tendencies or rules that people around her need to abide by. If she really is so upset about having such a horrible relationship with her younger sisters, she needs to look at herself instead of blaming it on us. So what should I do? I should add that despite the difficulties that she brings, I want her to live a happy and fulfilling life. I want her to be freed of whatever this is because she deserves to be happy. And I will always be open to trying to build a relationship with her if she tries to work on these issues. And we do have an update. Ooh. But what should OP do?
I think that OP is kind of coming at this from a very neurotypical standpoint. She's like, my sister is weird. I don't understand her. How do I fix her? And it's like,
yeah,
there are things that elements you can fix, like hopefully the and like there's like other little things that you can work through with her in therapy, or like if she's medicated. But I think like a lot of these, things about her might be something like I am also just kind of guessing here, but it might be something that she needs to go to like a psychologist for.
Yeah, but we do have an update. So first of all, I don't think words can show how grateful I am for the time that so many of you took to comment and give me insight and advice that I had never considered. Thank you so much. It gave me clarity and a much clearer approach to take rather than just assuming that my sister is incredibly annoying. So I called my dad last night and in a very nice way explained how I was concerned about Lena.
Exactly what we said.
And outlined some of the behaviors to him and explained how it isn't simply annoying to us. There has to be some inner turmoil that she's dealing with. He then revealed to me that she saw a therapist when she was about 12 years old because of a compulsion associated with cheese.
Dude, we freaking nailed it. I think also just probably because OP was basing this off of like assumptions about disorders like OCD. Like that's, I think it's really, I really do think that people should be more educated, even if you don't have like those diagnoses.
Yeah.
I think people should be more educated on the behaviors and stuff that go along with these diagnoses, because like when you just base it off of stereotypes of like, oh, clean.
Yeah.
It's so much harder to catch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many more nuances to all of them.
Yeah.
Apparently, whenever she saw cheese in her refrigerator, she had to eat it. She could not go to bed, fall asleep, or continue any daily routine without finishing the cheese that she had seen in the fridge. This explains why she once physically hit me because I ate some of her mozzarella balls last summer. I didn't know that they were hers. They were just in the fridge.
If it's in the fridge, I think it's her cheese.
I think it's hers. I think we've established. So I explained that I didn't think this issue was resolved and had manifested itself in many different ways that go far beyond cheese. Unfortunately, my dad was not as receptive as I thought he would be. Despite my best efforts to make this come across as a concern from a loving sister, I think he still interpreted it as me trying to find fault and flaw in Lena. He quickly turned the conversation to my younger sister Bella, 15, and how her academic performance is his main concern right now, and that Lena will figure out what path she would like to take. I'm in a different state for about 2 more weeks until finals are over. I'm going home for 2 weeks to see old high school friends, etc., but I am then returning to my college town for the summer as to avoid this toxic family dynamic. During those 2 weeks, I'm going to do this. 1, not instigate Lena in any way. I know this will require a lot of tiptoeing and being very careful, but I really want to observe her behavior and watch how she reacts to others. I texted her yesterday and asked if she wants to go to dinner with me when I'm back home. She agreed, and we set a date, time, and location and discussed what we were going to wear. This is totally in her comfort zone, and I'm glad that we have this set up. 2, at dinner with Lena, I'm just going to ask how everything is going, but am also going to tactfully ask some questions. Any help or ideas with this will be appreciated about how certain things my sisters do make her feel. I want to hear her side of things. Hopefully, during this conversation, I can give her a sense of my genuine concern for her well-being that comes from a good place. Hopefully, she can come to realize that her anxiety and routine is stopping her from living a happy life and that she has to seek help. But you know what you should seek? is full episodes with stories just like this one.
So freaking true.
Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is,
do it.
and search OK Storytime.
Come on.
Seek it out.
Seek.
But there is a little bit more to the story, but
Oh, man.
but I think that's a good
exactly
idea.
what we said.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, nailed it.
But there is a little bit more to the story. My parents have never been ones to believe in mental illness necessarily.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Boo.
Kind of saw that coming,
Yeah,
I
I mean, like the fact that she has such obvious symptoms, and they were like, "Well, it's
Yeah.
just Lena."
feel. She'll just figure it out.
Yeah, like that was pretty obvious.
We are estranged from both sides of our family because they are, according to them, crazy. Now, I have no proof to back that up, but I think my parents are in denial about how problematic our family dynamic has become. My mom has no tolerance for talk about mental illness, so if my dad didn't see this as a priority, my mom would honestly laugh at me. This is why Lena needs to realize for herself that she needs help, and I don't know what else to do but to have a mature one-on-one conversation with her. Again, thanks so much for all the comments. So many of you came from different angles, and it was very helpful to see different sides of the situation I had not considered. If any of you have ideas about how to carry this conversation with Lena, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
And
Well-
that's the end of that story.
Yeah, I think approaching it from like, I love you,
Mhm.
from I want to help you, and just like, yeah, treating her like the adult that she is.
Yeah.
And saying that, like, especially if your parents aren't supportive of like any
Mhm.
mental illness talks, I think you have to go to her and say, like, hey, like once that conversation comes up, saying, like, hey, I know that our parents have
Yeah.
never been very supportive, but I want you to know that I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And that I care a lot about you, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. This
Yeah.
is just like a diagnose. Like, I think people have this weird fear of of getting diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh, this will change how people see me. But it's like, it might. I mean, there is a lot of stigmas around diagnosis, but you have not changed at all. You just have
Yeah.
a label now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I-
you're still the same.
I think what comes along with it too is like, especially if you have parents that are invalidating of
Yeah.
your mental illness, then you kind of internalize that too and think like, no, like it's just a problem with me. It's not like because my brain is different. It's
Yeah.
because like I just need to figure this out. I'm
doing
too
something
lazy.
wrong.
I'm too
Yeah.
I'm whatever. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a struggle too. So I think
Yeah.
you're on a good track,
No,
OP.
it could be incredibly validating to get that diagnosis.
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. Have someone that's supporting you in the family.
Yeah.
I think that's very big of you, very mature, and I think you've got it.
Yeah.
You got this, OP. Good luck to you. But that is the end of that story. My boyfriend's family is unsupportive of our relationship. They got cut off.
Get out of here.
And trigger warning, there is some involved in this story. So, I am of South Indian descent. My boyfriend and his family are Filipino. He and I have been together for
Uh-oh.
about 5 months.
Uh-oh.
Shout out to
I-
No,
Keon.
no.
Shout
I
out
don't
to
like
our
this
boy
one.
behind the camera, Keon. He is half Filipino, so he can half relate to this.
I cannot half relate to. No.
By the way, this comes from random person, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/storytime subreddit. So now I'm very from a multicultural city, so I've dated outside my race before, but it's never really been a problem until now. I had reservations about dating him because I knew his family was devout Catholic, his parents and younger sister, not him. I had a feeling it would be difficult to find common ground with them, but I decided to go for it despite that because I like him and I can honestly see a future with him if things between us stay on track. I'm fine with the occasional ignorant remark when it comes to spicy food, cab drivers, convenience store clerks, and whatever other Indian stereotypes there are. But his family doesn't make the occasional dumb joke. They make it personal, as though they want me to be uncomfortable. Blatant racial discrimination. The things his family has said to me, I don't even know where to start. His mother and sister are very subtle about it, but at the same time, not really. I'm a little darker than them, which I don't think is an issue at all, but to them it is. They always make remarks about how dark I am, how interesting it is that I'm still considered pretty even though I'm dark, etc. Oh my gosh, what?
Oh, I have a feeling about this Filipino family.
But being Indian, I've dealt with colorism within my own culture before, so I know how to brush it aside and not take it personally. But then his mother gave me face cream and soap that's supposed to make your skin lighter. She basically wants me to bleach my skin. LMAO. My boyfriend was really embarrassed when that happened and had a talk with his mother about never doing anything like that again. And she listened at first, but then it started again. She, her husband, and their daughter treat me like I grew up in a jungle or something. They just assume my parents are uneducated and don't speak proper English because of our race. The truth is, my parents are lawyers and have lived in Canada since the 70s. Their English is better than mine, and I've lived here my entire life. But even if they were fresh off the boat, what right does that give anyone to judge them? This type of treatment is common from wealthy and or upper middle class, I'm just gonna say it, white people. But his parents don't fit that description at all. They're Filipino. They run a few Filipino grocery stores in the city, and they went through their own struggles when they immigrated here in the early 90s. So why attack another minority? It doesn't make sense.
Also, hot take here.
Okay? I'm scared.
Yes,
Please.
I do see this remarks and the discriminatory. Also, I feel like it's hierarchy. Whenever some people are better off than other people, they just want to put other people down, and they feel like they have the right to do it instead of being kind and loving people.
So maybe they're just grasping at straws of how to insult.
I think so. I think they just like putting people down. And, probably from things from the past, they were put down before. So it feels like, it's a natural cycle to put other people down. And it's such a hard thing to break in such a, messed up world we live in.
Sure.
But it's just so sad to see that it's happening in real time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's clear that they would prefer that he date a light-skinned Asian girl, and that's fine. But at this point, they've attacked my skin color, my family's financial background, my morals, my hygiene, and my intelligence, all because I'm Indian and darker than them. My boyfriend is on the verge of cutting them off, and even though I do think it would be a good wake-up call for them, I feel bad because they're still his family. His dad isn't that bad, but I'm sure half the things his mother said is on his dad's behalf. His sister is a nightmare, and I'm pretty confident that she's a little jealous of me. I do well for myself career-wise, and I drive a nice car. And I don't have solid evidence, but I'm about 90% sure that she keyed my car on Christmas. I dropped by his parents' house that afternoon to pick him up on the way to my parents' Christmas party. He needed help loading some gifts into the trunk, so I popped inside for a minute. His sister was in the driveway at the time, fixing something in her car. When I came back, she was gone, and there was a huge scratch on my car that ran the entire length of the passenger's side. Someone had obviously keyed it, and I know for sure the scratch was not there before. I feel bad for automatically thinking she's responsible, but I wouldn't put it past any of them at this point. I haven't told my boyfriend the truth. I led him to believe that someone had keyed the car outside of my building. I don't want to put him in an even worse position than he already is in, because honestly, I'm not losing sleep over this. I've dealt with before. I had the crap punted out of me in high school because of my race, so this isn't really that huge to me. More of an inconvenience than anything. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because it seems like you come to this thing happens before. I've already got the crap beat out of me before. This is nothing, but it's going to have to come to you every Christmas. Every Christmas, you're going to have to deal with this family if you're still with this guy.
Yeah.
Unless he decides to stick up for you and be like, hey, I'm out of here. We're done. We're not doing this anymore.
You don't have to put up with it just because you've had worse in the past. I don't think he's seen this side of them before. He's more hurt by all of this than I am. And I understand why. He brought someone home thinking his family would be supportive of the relationship, but all they've done is say and do things to make me feel uncomfortable, and at times disgusting. He was in shock at first, didn't know how to react or what to do, but he's pretty much reached his limit. I don't want to steer him in either direction. I want him to decide on his own so he doesn't end up resenting me later. He's tried talking to them about it, but they don't take his concerns seriously. What's worse than the way they treat me is the way that they treat him. He's their flesh and blood, and they still disrespect him like this? It makes me angry just thinking about it. Should I tell him about the keying incident, or should I just go with the flow and stay out of it? I'm interested to know if anyone else has experienced a situation like this, and if so, how did you handle it? Did the relationship stay afloat?
Angie, if my family didn't like you, would you want to come to Christmas with us?
I would definitely not feel welcomed.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I think you got to sit down, be like, hey, boyfriend, I am not going to put up with all of my holidays looking like this. I know, like, I don't want my key to be card every Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do about this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they going to cut them off?
Yeah, or at least bring it up as like a possible thing. Like, because I mean, it's hard because it looks like the boyfriend is doing something, which in a lot of the stories that we read, it's like the boyfriend is just, ignoring the problem, but he's not. He's like standing up to his parents, but they're just dismissing him too.
Yeah, they're just out of it. Is this relationship worth going no contact with that side of the family? If not, might need to break up or, kind of find other situations, but I'm leading on either breaking up or he goes no contact, but that's huge ask for your partner.
Yeah. But anyway, there is an edit and an update here. Edit. Things are getting ugly in the comments. There's no reason to suggest an act of racial discrimination against his family. Two wrongs don't make a right, etc. The issue is that his family is discriminatory, not that they're Filipino or that I'm dating down, whatever the heck that means. I included their racial background in the OP to give you an idea as to the social norms that could very well play a part in all of this. I don't think I'm better than him or his family. Please keep that in mind. And with that, I think we should just roll right into the update.
Head first in a 5-foot deep pool.
Before the actual update, I'd like to touch on a few things. Boyfriend and I haven't been in a relationship for long. It's only been 5 months. But we've known each other for quite a while. We met 2 years ago through mutual friends and went to the same parties, get-togethers, etc. So there is a level of history and understanding there. I'm from Vancouver. Over here, there isn't much of a difference between the average South Indian and the average Filipino. In terms of the socioeconomic scale, we're pretty much the same. Doesn't matter either way, just painting a more vivid picture. Our parents have never been introduced. There have been a few occasions where they could have met, but I've tried my best to avoid it for now. If I annoy his family so much, I can only imagine how bad my lawyer parents would annoy them. They annoy me half the time. Ha ha ha. Maybe it wasn't clear in the original post, but I'm not around his family every day or even every other day. I'd say about once or twice a month on average. And he doesn't live with them. He has his own place. The reason I picked him up from their house on Christmas is because he was staying there over the holidays. Last but not least, boyfriend has been sticking up for me throughout this whole ordeal. He hasn't once let anything slide. I know for sure he would not have letting the keying slide had I told him from the jump. For that reason, I kept it quiet. The last thing I wanted was for him to confront her without evidence. What if she didn't actually do it? I mean, I'm pretty sure she did, but still, they don't get along to begin with. His sister has always been very competitive with him in terms of who looks better to their parents. I'm sure that's a part of the reason that she has taken their parents' side. She wants their approval, maybe. That said, I ended up telling him about the keying incident last night, regardless of how weird it felt to talk about something that happened a month ago. And the funny thing is, he wasn't shocked.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, that's just my mom, you know. Were all your tires filled up? Okay, good. Glad they
cool.
were.
Ooh, okay. Whew.
Could
Dodged a bullet there.
have been worse.
He told me he had suspected as much at the time and had actually asked his sister about it a day or two after Christmas. She flat out denied it, and although he didn't believe her, there wasn't much he could do. I haven't seen his family since the holidays, but a cousin of his, with whom I went to high school and have known for a really long time, she invited me to her engagement dinner. I suspect I'll see his sister and parents there. Kind of unavoidable, really, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. And by the way, what's absolutely unavoidable is the fact that we have full episodes, more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. I was on Audible the other day and I searched us up and sure enough, we were there. We were there.
We're on Audible?
We're on Audible. Yeah. There's a little bit more to the story, but what are our thoughts so far?
I didn't get anything from that.
It was kind of just like adding more to,
It's like,
to what we already know.
I was hoping some throwdown, you know, he's going to cut off family. Nah, he's like, basically, hey, mom, did you key your car?
Is his
No.
sister.
Hey, sister, did you key your car?
Mhm.
No.
Well, dang.
All right, I guess I'm going to see him soon.
Yeah, I feel like OP is going about this in a good way, though.
Oh, yeah.
I think
solid.
it definitely would come across like it would probably make things worse if she was like, the sister did it. Like, everyone, get her. Get him, everyone. And then, like, you know, she didn't say anything.
Yeah, she knows she's not the problem.
Yeah. And the boyfriend knew anyway. So it's like the problem is already being addressed.
Yeah.
Even though it's not solved, it's being addressed. But she doesn't have any, like, part in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's just the victim. But there is a little bit more to the story. So, in the meantime, he told me he's 100% done with his family's crap. No family dinners or visits. According to him, the only way to get the message across is to do something like this. He's tried talking sense into them multiple times, but they don't care. Hopefully all goes well, and thank you so much for all your advice. Edits, shaking my head. This isn't India versus Philippines. If you want to take it there, kindly F off. I know plenty of Filipinos who are amazing people, and my boyfriend is obviously one of them. So is Keon.
Hi, hello.
Aw.
We love our...
Let's
love
go.
our-
Yay!
Shout out to the
We love
Philippines.
our Filipino producer.
Someone here doesn't like the Philippines.
Double edits. Let's not crap on an entire nation. Yeah, that's the basis of this entire issue, that people judge a whole group of people based on a few crappy encounters. To any Filipinos out there, y'all are great. Your spaghetti is bomb.
It is. It's so good.
Do not take the negative comments to heart. Much love. And that's the end of that story.
My boyfriend broke up with me because I'm not wealthy enough.
Brokey. Oh my God, that's terrible.
I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years now, and we're now in the same grad program. I mean, if you're in a grad school, of course you're broke. I'm going to make this short because it feels like I'm passing away, and I have an appointment with my therapist that I need to prepare for. By the way, this comes from Adventure Time is great. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, yesterday, my boyfriend broke up with me because his parents didn't think that I was good enough for him because I'm not rich like they are and I'm not white. Yikes. Wow, they really just said all that, and then he said that to you, and then he did it. Wow.
We got a pretty cut and dry case of where to go from here, right?
His parents told me that I'm a great person, but what I lack in monetary wealth and in terms of my skin color
Oh my.
is not enough for me to
Whoa.
marry their son.
Oh my God.
Wow.
These people just said, you're a great person, but you're the wrong color?
Yeah, but
But it's nothing personal.
We're
What?
so sorry.
Holy
My boyfriend was in the background weeping while his parents said this.
Oh.
At 2 p.m. yesterday, my boyfriend and I were watching Netflix, and he was telling me how much he loved me and that I've changed him for the better. He went on to say that he couldn't wait to marry me.
Wait, I'm sorry. After all that was said, y'all still were hanging out?
No. Yesterday.
Okay.
Before.
Thank God. I just had to I was confused.
Girl, you do not want to marry this man. His family's racist and he does not stand up for you, so bye.
He's crying about it in the corner?
Yeah.
You should be in front of them about like 1 inch away from their face telling them to stop.
At 2:15ish, his mom calls and he asks her what time we're supposed to come over for dinner. I can hear what she says because our room was quiet and she talks as if she's yelling. I hear her say that it is a family dinner and because I'll never be part of their family, I'm not invited. And she was tired of pretending like she'd be my mother-in-law someday. A few hours later, his parents told me what I wrote above. I've always been the best girlfriend that I could be and the best person that I could be. When his mom had surgery and everyone was too busy to stop by except for my boyfriend, I was with her for over 12 hours. I never thought that my relationship would end because my family isn't wealthy and I'm not white. I begged my boyfriend to stay with me and I am very embarrassed of that now, but I just wanted to know that I did everything that I could to save my relationship. He told me that although he loved me, his parents wouldn't allow us to be together. Oh, your parents? Your parents said you couldn't be with her?
I'm sorry.
You want a little baby?
My mommy and daddy.
My mommy said I couldn't be with you.
I'm sorry.
I just feel so betrayed and I'm starting to hate everything about me. My skin color was the reason I was deemed not worthy of love.
No, you should start hating everything about that guy.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Or
And he's
better yet, nothing this person anymore.
Yeah, like just don't even
waste
think about
the
him.
hate energy.
Don't even spend a second thinking about this guy. Whenever I imagine my ex with someone else, loving someone else, it hurts a lot. I don't feel like I'll ever get over him. You will, girl. You will. Don't worry. He called me and told me that he never loved me and that I would be a fool to think otherwise. Why would he be so mean? Because he sucks. I loved him a lot and it seems like he felt the same. So why would he tell me that he never did? It's like he's trying to make me hurt as much as possible. And there is an update, but we already know. OP,
Yeah,
this man sucks.
Come on, dude.
Obviously, you are going to hurt for a little bit because you're losing this 2-year relationship to people.
Right.
But you did nothing wrong.
Nothing at all.
Literally nothing wrong. Update. I need to say that the mom is a controlling, manipulative person and she is largely disliked by her family. I wonder why. She makes herself out to be a martyr and when one of her children does something that she doesn't like, she goes into a long tirade about how they're her and breaking her heart. Another important fact is that my ex is treated like a saint by his mom. The other siblings are only kind of liked, and the brother that is closest in age to him is merely tolerated by the mom. She sees him as a failure because he didn't go to an Ivy, although he still went to a reputable college. And he took a year off before starting grad school because he wanted to get his depression under control. This guy's parents suck.
Yeah, there's really no other way to put it.
His mother even ruined his engagement, which is something that I mentioned somewhere in the comments on the original post. Anyway, the brother calls me and says that he wants to meet up with me for lunch. I think it's a little weird because I've only really spent time with him on double dates with my ex. And who would call their brother's ex-girlfriend to meet for lunch? I say that I'll meet anyway because my interest is piqued. I arrive at the restaurant and my ex is there. Okay, this was some stupid setup and I try to leave before they noticed, but I have the worst luck in the world and the brother cheerfully calls me over while my ex just kind of sulks. I don't really want to go into depth, but the brother basically basically told me how his mother was a witch and his dad only agreed with her that day because there was no prenup in place. I don't care. I'm sorry. Their excuse for is that, I wanted the money. I don't freaking care.
Oh.
Boo-hoo. Oh, you've always been rich and now you're not going to have all of the money that the freaking wife can give you unless you agree to her. I don't freaking care. Boo-hoo.
Yeah, it's just cowardly.
I only have listened because he seemed kind of wasted. My ex started to talk and cry and tell me that he loved me, but he didn't know how to disagree with his mom when she spoke to him on the phone. I told him that he should have been man enough to defend me, and he countered by saying, yeah, and I hate her for that.
Okay. Did you do anything to express that?
I realized how absurd everything was when the waiter came over and looked at us weird because my ex was begging me to take him back. I was saying that he wasn't mature or masculine enough to be in a relationship, and the brother was saying, I hate that C-word witch. She ruins everything. Oh my God. They don't even take responsibility.
Yeah, still can't even do it. Little baby boy literally
They're
can't even be like,
blaming mommy for
I should have
everything.
done something different. It's like, no, my mommy make it
did
bad.
it. My mommy did it. I told my ex that we were done for good and never to call me again or have his brother call me again. I felt really bad for his brother and I told him that things would get better and he would find an amazing girl someday. Since then, my ex has emailed me constantly, alternating between asking me to marry him, telling me that I used him for his money, and I'm a miserable person. It hurts that he would say that, but I don't really feel like investing any more emotions into him.
Perfect.
I mentioned in the comments that I met a cute guy and I think that we would become something great. I know that this seems fast, but I already knew him and we're not serious right now. We're just seeing what we could be. He tells me that he thinks that he could fall in love with me someday and he invited me to his dad's birthday celebration. Depending on how long it's been going on, that's a little bit fast for him to say that. I mean, I don't know how long it's been going on, but just keep an eye out for that. I really didn't want to meet anyone's parents for a very long time, but they were great and they really liked me. They didn't care about the fact that I'm black, we're not wealthy. Yeah, because hopefully they're not.
Yeah, so they were great. They weren't classist. It's crazy.
Wow. They only care about the fact that their son likes me. And this is going to seem really weird, but I saw his mom clipping coupons and it made me so happy. My ex didn't even know what coupons were, and in CVS, he once asked, what the F is this crap at the end of my receipt? I was so embarrassed, and it was his first and last time at CVS. Anyway, thanks guys. I'm over my ex's family drama, and I met a working class guy who's incredibly nice.
Bingo, bango.
And there is an update. Do you have any thoughts?
2 years. 2 years you were with that family and like they just started doing this out of nowhere,
Yeah,
or was
like-
it the whole time?
But that's why I'm shocked. Because, usually people who are so outwardly and obviously and confident about the racism wouldn't, I don't understand how they like hid that for 2 years.
Right. Like how maybe it was because like once it got like serious to the point where
they're like, oh, sorry, girl, you can't be here.
ooh, did I hear the word marriage?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're the wrong color for that.
Bye.
Yikes.
Yeah, terrible, evil people. I don't even know what to say about what just happened. My ex called me from his house phone sobbing. I only answered because I didn't recognize his house number. He told me something about making a mistake and that his life was ruined. I really couldn't understand him, so I asked him if his brother was there so that I can sort of have a translator. He told me that his brother wasn't there, but his dad was. I really didn't want to speak to his dad at all, but the situation seemed urgent and I could hear his dad saying, let me speak to her. His dad told me that the mom tried to set him up with a girl and it didn't go over well. The girl went on a date with my ex and slept with him. Why are they telling you this? They then had dinner with the family and the mom crap talked me for hours.
Dude,
Trigger warning for attack. My ex became fed up and attacked her. I was mortified. He had never shown any kind of tendencies where we were together and he idolized his mom. She's a woman who can do no wrong in his eyes. I started to cry because I thought that he had basically thrown away his bright future. Our university doesn't tolerate anything of that nature, and I thought that he would be punted out. I wondered why he would do something like this. His dad told me not to worry about it because the mom wasn't going to press charges and the girl wasn't going to tell anyone because they were arranging a marriage for her and my ex.
hey, they're just
so
like, hey, don't worry about it. We're just gonna do the most evil thing you could do in this situation.
Get so far away from this man. Get so far away. Block him everywhere. This man is a psycho. Get so far away from this family.
Yeah.
Never see them ever again. Get a restraining order. Get away from them.
Yeah.
They were on one date and it hurts because I still love them, but I know that I have to move on. There's more, but I can't even describe my emotional state right now. I am in shock. He attacked his mom and he's getting married. His dad also apologized to me and said that yes, I was good to his son, but sometimes love isn't enough. He said that it's not up to him and it's not up to my ex either, meaning who my ex can date. He told me that one day my ex will have a son who wants to date a girl who isn't white, and my ex will break them up because he wasn't allowed to do it, and it wouldn't be fair for his son to do what he couldn't do. It seemed like he was trying to say that he loved someone who wasn't white, but he wasn't allowed to continue.
This is literally like the joke we made earlier about the Invisaligns.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, I had terrible braces that cut up my mouth and hurt, so I'm not going to let my kid have the ones that don't do that. I'm going to make them have the ones that I had.
Yeah, like I said, there's more, but that's all that I feel like saying. I'm kind of
Jeez.
numb right now.
Yeah.
But you know what will bring you back to life? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Yeah, like literally never talk to these people ever again. They're crazy.
Yeah, 100%. Like run in the opposite direction. I don't know.
Yeah, move
File
houses.
a police report as like a concerned anonymous citizen.
I mean, they told you something illegal.
Yeah.
Edit. Okay, I'm not a troll. His family's always done crazy things, and I'm shocked that it went this far. It's pretty funny that one of the people calling me a troll was the same guy who chastised me for not taking my ex back. Yeah, I could have lied to make the story seem more believable, but I wanted to be honest to get great feedback, even if the truth seems unbelievable. You don't have to believe me, but don't insult me either. If you can find me a book on how much deviation from the norm is allowed in reality, I'd like to read it. And that is the end of that story. Wow. Wowee wow. Yikes. Yowzers. Stay so far away from that family.
Yeah, I mean,
so far away from that family.
dude, like, it's not everyone, but it's like, I feel like there's a special kind of like absurd craziness for people in like that very
Really rich.
top tax bracket.
Well, we were talking about the Arm & Hammer stuff.
Right, yeah. Where
Yeah.
It's just the principle that like once you've gained a
You
certain
can say
amount of
whatever
money
you want
and
and
wealth
do whatever
and
you
status,
want. And no one's going to do anything because you can just drop money on it.
and you're just like, what else? What do I need to fulfill myself? And you're like, ooh, strife.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
and
even
maybe I
then
can
strife.
control. We'll create perfect babies. That's what it is. We have all the money, we have all the land, we have a family, everything's great. But now I want to hone in on trying to like build. What is that thing? What is that? Eugenics.
I was about to say, like,
Yes.
eugenics?
Now they're doing eugenics.
Yep.
That's yes.
Yep.
But that is the end of that story.
And the end of this episode.
So if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.
My family treated my sister badly during my graduation. I'm planning to leave.
It's time to graduate.
Backstory. My sister, let's call her Rain,
And I almost misread that as reason.
is the oldest out of 3. Our mother has never liked her for various reasons. The main one being that Rain is the one who ruined her teenage years. My mom had her at 16 and was and very obviously resents her for this.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's the child's fault, not
It's the
you.
kid's fault that her life got ruined. Not her own fault.
Our family is mostly pro-life and anti-adoption, so giving Rain up or terminating her wasn't an option. Because of this, our mom has always been very cold to our sister. By the way, this comes from She Who Wanders, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Damn. Really quickly, can I just say, so your mom's always been a piece of shit? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I had to just say that. Sorry.
Rain is also different. She's Wicca, like myself, and mainly listens to really heavy metal and paints nude, how scandalous, women in her free time. Our mom tried everything to punish Rain and mold her into a normal woman. It didn't work, and it just caused Rain to have some pretty bad self-esteem issues. When Rain turned 18, she fled to go live with our dad and never looked back. Mom acted like she never existed, and sadly, she made our lives a whole lot better once Rain was out of the picture. Rain graduated last year, and my mom refused to show up or let us show up. She sent Rain a passive-aggressive card, and that was that. Rain was really upset from what I heard and was inconsolable for a few days. She told me she felt unloved and worthless. It was heartbreaking to hear her say those things, and I did my best to comfort her. She got better, but I can tell she hasn't really recovered from that. After that, she got a boyfriend and went no contact with our mom. She moved several states away to live with her boyfriend, best friend, and best friend's husband. She's a lot happier now, or at least was until yesterday. Fast forward to yesterday. Rain surprised us all when she came to my graduation. She drove all the way from northern Wisconsin to southern Texas, and it was an amazing surprise. I literally cried when I saw her, and it really made my big day so much better.
Aw.
Mom wasn't.
Let's just soak
That's
in how
sweet,
good
yeah.
that feels for a second.
You've got a good sibling.
That's good.
Mom wasn't happy to see her and started nitpicking on what Rain was wearing. Rain ignored her and gave me a hug before excusing herself to a seat. The ceremony itself came and went without fuss. Here's your diploma, get the F out kind of ordeal. Ha ha. Afterwards, my mom was throwing a huge celebration party for me and my friends. Her friends also attended. I invited Rain, and it took a lot of convincing to get her to go. I really wish I hadn't. Rain arrived a bit early and had issues parking her car. My stepdad was making fun of her big time. Her car is a standard, and she's still getting the hang of it. She can't parallel park to save her life. My stepdad said something really offensive, and I went inside. My friends really like Rain and were really excited to see her as well. The only people who weren't excited to see Rain was my mom, stepdad, and the family friends. They kept whispering about her like middle school girls whenever she wasn't around. It was embarrassing.
Why are they acting like it's like scandalous and
Yeah.
Rain decided to be born to spite her own mother?
It's like what is this attitude? When the party started, Rain brought several large pans of her amazing brownies and her graduation present for me. That's so lovely. I felt really bad because our mom's family had done F all for her graduation, and here she was going out of her way to bring me stuff and visit. I mean, just focus on the fact that you two have a great relationship.
Yeah.
She didn't seem to mind in the slightest. My mom got really wasted and flat out started being mean. She called Rain a horde of names and said Rain had gotten even more gross than when she had last seen the poor girl. I got pissed and told my mom to knock that crap off and proceeded to tell her that Rain was family and should be treated as such. My mom got pissed and she told me that Rain was an effing mistake.
You're an effing mistake, Mom. You suck.
Mom also told me that Rain would never be true family, just a nuisance and a burden.
So
and that's when I kick her out.
I'm like immediately in that moment disowning my family right there.
Yep. Sadly, Rain overheard this and I could tell it really hurt her. My mom's equally as wasted friend agreed, saying it was a shame because Rain is smart but a complete loser. I cannot believe that this is happening. This is beyond anything Mom's ever done. She has always been mean to Rain, but never like this. Needless to say, the day was ruined. When Rain brought out her brownies for me, my mom yelled at her to stop stealing the spotlight. Rain is an excellent baker. I loved the brownies, but my mom told Rain to throw it away or get it the F off the table before she did it herself. Rain was just gone. All I saw was an empty, depressed shell wandering around and trying to get tasks done like a robot. I seriously wondered if I was in some crappy soap opera or dreaming because this was just effed in so many ways possible. I don't know what the F my mom's problem is. She's a sad, angry,
She's a
person.
broken little wench of a lady.
Yeah, she's so unhappy with how her life is going that she has to take it out on everyone else.
Well, it's weird because it doesn't feel like she's taking it out on OP. It feels like it's all directed at Rain.
Yeah.
Which I don't get.
She's scapegoating Rain. Rain left the food hidden in my room and left her gift with it. Nobody noticed, thank God, so nobody sabotaged her efforts. She didn't say another word the entire time until my mom really pulled some effed up crap. No more?
Dude,
More?
so-
I would have left.
Well, isn't this your graduation like OP? This is for OP, right?
Yeah, I'm saying if I was Rain, I would have left.
No. If
Also,
I was
if I was OP, I would have taken Rain and left.
If I'm OP, I stand up on the table and I stomp my feet and I cling my glass and I
go.
say, "Everyone's attention, please.
Yeah.
My mother is a creature from
Yes.
the Black Lagoon.
Yep.
And I no longer see her as my mother."
Yep, disown her right there. After a couple hours, food was ready and we were all super hungry. Rain got her food, sat down next to me, and ate in total silence. My sister is a bouncy, cheerful, chatty woman normally. This was ruining my day, so I tried to keep my mom away from her. When I went inside to do a couple things, I came back out to my mom yelling at Rain. She said horrible things to my sister and rubbed the fact that she would never have something like this in her entire life in her face. Rain was crying and I screamed at my mom to shut the F up. I told my mom she was a crappy mother and how dare she treat her own child like that. Mom yelled back at me saying Rain would never be her child and that she wished Rain would just F off already. Everyone got silent. Rain gave me a hug, told me she loved me, then grabbed her dog that she had to leave behind when she first moved out and left. I was furious. My friends and I left after telling Mom how horrible she was and tried to catch up with my sister. It was pointless, so we turned around and went back home. She was speeding big time and got too far away to reasonably follow. Rain has not spoken to any of us since. She hasn't been on Facebook, and her boyfriend said she made it home fine, but instantly went to bed and hasn't woken up since she got there. I don't know what to do. Our mom is pretending like nothing happened and fakes confusion when I angrily confront her about the BS she pulled yesterday. I'm so lost. Rain is a wonderful and amazing sister. She didn't do anything to deserve any of that. Between crying and being angry, I haven't been able to figure out what to do from here. What can I do to help Rain? I love her a lot and I really look up to her. She's an amazing person and it really effed me up to see her be treated like this by our own family. I know she needs my support, but I don't know how to help. And there is an update, but OP, you help her by being there for her.
Yeah.
By letting her know that you love her.
Yes.
And by telling your mom to F off and to never talk to you again.
Right.
Until she can freaking get her head out of her butt.
Just let Rain know how much you support her.
Yeah.
And how appalled you were by all of these untrue things your mom was saying.
Yeah.
You know?
That's all you can do.
And probably encourage her to talk to a counselor or a therapist about it because, it's unfortunate. My mom would probably hate that I say this, but it's they don't mean to a lot of times. Most times I may even say, but a lot of our issues just stem from our upbringing and our parents and our childhoods. And it's you got to get them addressed,
Indeed. But there is an update. So I finally got a hold of Rain after a surprisingly short amount of time. Apparently, this was normal behavior displayed by Mom to her when we were growing up. My brother, a 15 male, and I never noticed it, but we understand now.
Okay, I understand it now.
Better late than never, I guess. I talked to Rain and offered my support. She appreciated it, and we had a really deep conversation. I found out a lot of really terrible crap that my mom had done to her, and it's pushing me closer to moving out. The only thing stopping me is fear of my mother and for my brother, honestly. I think that's understandable, though. By the way, I understand that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
If your brother, being a concern for your brother is definitely understandable. I would suggest, because he even said he's starting to see now, hey, that was really messed up.
Yeah.
There have been situations where I've had good friends stay at my house when I was, that age, and your mom's just all talk. She's just a bag of hot air that if you stand right next to it, it can burn you. But it's just if you just get a little bit of distance, it's just like a breeze. What is she gonna do? Tell you how much you suck?
That's a great.
You know that you don't.
That's a great example. Thankfully, I learned that Rain is in therapy and getting help. She said it really helps, but Mom's comments are still hurtful and offensive. That's why she cried. I told her not to worry because showing emotion is just part of being human.
Boom.
Rain is also planning on helping fund my move out when my friends and I can find a place. She and I both want me out of that toxic environment. What Mom did and has done to Rain makes me literally nauseous. I may be overreacting, but it's bad to me.
Oh.
No, you're not overreacting.
It's nauseating.
You're not overreacting at all.
It was nauseating from paragraph 1.
But folks, that is the end of that story.
Woof. And the end of this episode. And the end of the stream. Keon, please tell me you have an axolotl already. I know you have
Andrea
to leave
Mars,
very
thank
quick.
you for the $10. I just feel like it. You worked hard. That's very sweet.
Also,
Thank you.
thank you. That was very sweet.
That's so sweet.
Look at
I
this
really
little
appreciate that.
boy. He's in my hand.
And
right
thank you all
there.
for staying along with us. My
yes.
stomach is growling like
I'm gonna
no
go see
tomorrow.
an axolotl right now. That's all I can say.
But folks, that's the end of that story. The end of this episode.
And the end of this stream.
So, if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And
see you tomorrow.